The views and opinions expressed by John and DJ do not reflect those of any intelligent or rational human being and are solely the property of the Brightside Chat.
This show is a proud member of the Nerdy Legion Podcast Network. Get more at nerdylegion.com. Enjoy the show.
Hey, welcome back to the Bright Side and issue number 155. Hey, John, how are we doing?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Are you excited? I'm doing great. Excited. Are you excited to get back into the store again?
Well, not really, but
thanks.
I'm here all day.
Yeah, I'm here all day. Tip your waiters.
Yeah, I'm always here.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see you, though.
How's that? There you go. Nice save. On that note, he's excited to see me. I gotta go back.
I was born at night, but not last night.
Yep. I gotta go back many years to hear somebody say that about me, so I'm very excited now. So, all right. With all of that excitement, we've got news. We're a little short on Speculator this week, though, so...
Like, way short.
Like, just trying to tease it out there, buddy. Come on. I think we can make up for it, though, with a little bit of conversation. How's that sound? All right?
Sounds good to me. Yep.
All righty. All right, let's get into the store. Hey, John, how are you doing now that we're in the store?
I'm doing great, man. Great.
The excitement, it's just amazing. It's like, wow.
I know.
You're just...
I bring it.
I know you do. And what the listeners don't know is that is your level of excitement.
It is. This is me bringing it.
That is you bringing it. It's like that's your game face right there.
Yep, it is.
Because the other face is the angry one. And you don't want to bring that one out.
Yeah.
No. So how's your week?
My resting bee face.
Yeah, exactly. How's your week been going?
Pretty good.
Pretty good?
Pretty good, yeah.
The store doing okay? Doing better? Is this an up week or a down week?
Up so far.
Oh, nice.
We'll see how tomorrow goes. It's a really light week for comics this week, so I'm not expecting a great day tomorrow, but...
You never know, John. They could surprise you. Because it's so light, they come in and buy a bunch of other stuff off the shelf.
They could buy a bunch of other stuff. And I got plenty of people with backlogs of stuff that could come in and pick up their stuff and make it a good week. So
we haven't said that in a while. Why don't you run that one? You haven't said that. We have picked up a bunch of new listeners. A lot of them are home theater guys that probably aren't going into the store and don't have a backlog, but it's still worth noting.
That people don't pick up their stuff?
Yeah. We used to say that quite a lot. And it's talking with, when I was hanging out at Friendly Neighborhood, talking with Ernie and Slade and how big of a deal it is. And people, they order these books and they'll sign on, put it on their pull list, the entire series, like Batman. And then they come in 6 months later and there's all of these books. It happened to me with one of my stores and it was pre-COVID. And I literally went into the store right before COVID was hitting because I hadn't been in that store. And I was like, I am so sorry. Here you go. And I owed them like $150.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the biggest killer of comic book stores is just that. People ordering books and not picking them up. We pay for books weekly. Every week I get an invoice for the books that came in, and I pay for most of these things in advance. And we are one of the only industries that will order and reserve stuff for people without asking them to pay for anything in advance. So we are really on the honor system when it comes to that. So, so what I would say is if you are a subscriber at any local store, pick up your books on a regular basis because it really helps the store. Because like I said, we have already paid for them. So, when you come in and you say, oh, well, can I put this one back or can I swap this for that or can I do this or that? It's like, we've ordered those books for you specifically. Like I've already ordered what I needed for the shelf. I don't need your extra one for the shelf. I needed your extra one to be purchased by you because that's why I bought it, I don't want you switching covers because again, I ordered what I wanted for the shelf, again, people that, will let book. And, that's on the plus side because at least that person's in the store. The flip side is that you just don't see them at all.
Right.
And they just pile up and pile up and pile up. And I can't tell you, I mean, at least, I'm getting to the point where I'm pretty rigid about it. Like, I won't let it go too long. And I don't care if you're a customer from day one, because I've been burned I've been burned multiple times by people that I thought wouldn't do that to me. And now I just believe everybody will do that to me. So
yeah,
even day one subscribers, like at 3 weeks, you're getting emails from me. And at 4 weeks, your stuff's going back. Before it gets a chance to build up to be hundreds and hundreds of dollars. But, even in those cases, I'm putting back 4 weeks worth of books. The shelf life on a comic is about 7 days. Because once the next week's books have come out,
right,
those books are gone. So putting books on the shelf 3, 4, 5 weeks after they came out, you might as well just be throwing them in the dollar bin.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't mean to get on that soapbox.
No,
but
I told you
to. It's just a thing that a lot of people don't realize, especially, again, we're not Walmarts or Targets or for the most part, Amazons. They're almost every store is.
If you are, you owe me a few bucks for this podcast.
Exactly. But the vast majority of store owners are single store owners. They don't have multiple locations. Right. They don't have, 50 employees. They're usually very small operations, and getting stuck with even 100, 150 bucks, it hurts.
Yeah.
And so there have been weeks where I've put back, $300, $400, $500 worth of books back on the shelf that went unsold, and that's just lost revenue for stores that can't absorb that stuff. So again, the PSA is, don't order it if you don't want it, and if you order it, pick it up.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not made of stone. I realize things come up in people's lives that are unexpected, but then again, communication is key. Don't just ghost me like we didn't go out on a date. It's like, if you're not going to come or if something happens, most stores are understanding if you call them, let them know what's going on, make a plan, and then follow through with it. Because again, it doesn't do me any good for you to call me and say, hey, this happened. I'll come in 3 weeks and pick up half of them, and then you don't show up,
Right.
Because I've continued to order 3 more weeks worth of books for you because you led me on,
Right.
Like I said, we're not dating. So just be honest about it or what have you. But yeah, like I said, just do the right thing when it comes to stores. If you want your store to still be there so you can get your books. Because the vast majority of stores close because of things like that.
Right. Oh yeah.
And it's a bigger problem than it sounds because many people do it.
It adds up. It's like a book here, a book there, and it adds up. And you figure if everybody left a book behind, that's a lot of money at the end of the day. And and it's like, I mean, yes, we're here to talk comics and hang out and talk comics. And that is part of it, though. If you're going into a store, talking to an owner and hanging out in the store, I think this is stuff that would come up. And I have talked about it with them, with Ernie and Slade, and you get to know these people. And it's something that, we like to bring every now and then to tell people that it's for all the stores. It's not what we're saying here.
Yeah, right.
It's not going to directly affect you.
Right. I'm not talking specifically for me. I don't know any of our listeners that are actually customers. Well, maybe one.
You have a couple. You have a few.
Yeah, I know 1 or 2 guys that are my customers that listen to me, but the vast majority of people that are listening to this show aren't my customers specifically. So you're not benefiting me.
Well, if they're playing YouTube in the store, I would be, no, I'm not even joking. I'd be willing to bet that those customers are like, and they look it up. Maybe but I remember hearing before we started podcasting or when we first got into it, it's like, it's only like 1 to 2% of your listeners actually communicate with you.
Right.
So you come into the store, the last thing is, hey, John, I saw you or I heard you the other day. And it's like, unless you know the person, it's kind of weird.
Well, hey, I have no problem putting that message out even to my own customers.
Oh, I know. I've been in your store. I saw the sign.
If you shop at my store, I'm telling you right now, pick up your stuff. Like, don't listen to this show and then leave me hanging, holding the bag. So
yeah, exactly. What's funny is you thought when John had a couple of drinks, I only got to use this a few times. Where'd it go?
Language.
Yeah.
What he's been saying, the first one when you said, come in and pick up your stuff.
Yeah.
You held yourself.
Get me going about that.
Yeah,
I can get
come
a little
and get
passionate.
your
language.
Yeah. I can get a little passionate about that.
Oh, yeah. Money? No.
Yeah.
No. Someday we'll have to tell the story about that that board game we played in the rain.
Oh. Categories or something, right?
Was that what? No, it was not Categories. It was
something.
Not
like that,
Boggle.
wasn't
It was a game where you basically every time you had to guess what a person's response would be.
Right. And anytime there was a money question.
Anytime there was a money question, we'd all look at John and go, because you'd be like, whatever question it was, you knew he was hard and fast. And this was when we were like 17 years old. And It was like, John's just like, nope, money good, everything else bad.
Yep.
Oh, you've been a businessman as long as I've known you.
Always.
Yep. All right. Speaking of business, let's get to the business of mailbag. Ready?
Right.
All right.
Damn.
Let's see here. What do we got? First up, where is it? Our new friend, longtime friend over on Home Theater, but our new friend, BJ Horton, 2005, at BJ Horton 2005. He says, at Brightside_chat, I checked out the Foundation podcast. Whoa! I have listened to all but the most recent episode. Really good find. Yeah, it is. He actually tweeted that as well over on Home Theater too. And have you listened to it yet, John?
No, I still need to listen to it.
Oh my God. Your phone, we'll get to it in checkout. Yeah. It's after checkout. Real World. We'll get to it there, but I know you're still watching the show, but
I am.
It adds so much more to the show. And we are not sponsored by Foundation or Apple TV Plus,
right.
or the corresponding podcast. But it sounds like
we could be. But
I know.
We talk a lot about Apple TV. They should break off a slice of that pie for us. But
yeah, well, yeah. I pay
all
a
32
lot to
viewers.
Apple TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, John, we're at 36 now. Last time I checked.
Awesome.
Yeah. BJ was 33, and then we're up to, and somehow we magically got to 36 without me noticing. So, which is pretty cool. Moving on up. See? All right. YouTube comment. Speaking of YouTube, nice segue, John. That's the professionalism I'm looking for.
I knew it.
Theo M. Here we go again. Having fun with the boys. Great show. Thank you. Anytime, Theo. Anytime.
Yeah.
And actually,
awesome.
anytime. How about now? We're going to go on. We've probably got at least another hour and 50 minutes left in us. So
Probably.
buckle up, everybody. Another YouTube comment from Brian Haberlin commented on issue number 154. Dune says, glad you liked it. And I actually, because he just said that, I Googled it. I'm like, did he make it? Brian, he didn't. He's just a listener. Just a listener.
That sounds like a comic creator, though.
Does it?
Didn't he do Echolands?
I don't know.
Well, hang on.
Oh, boy. I don't know. He just commented on, that's all it said. YouTube video, issue number 154.
That's J.H. Williams. What's the name? Haberlin?
Brian Haberlin. Haberlin.
Brian Haberlin, American comic book artist.
Damn. Did he do one of the books we did last week? Maybe he was commenting on that.
To see.
But Dune was the...
He must have. What did we talk about last week?
Oh, for the love of God. Let me get into our show notes from last week. Look at you. Really?
I know that, well, because I knew the name. Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew the name.
Yeah,
Hell Cop. He did Hell Cop, which we talked about last week.
There you go.
So he was commenting not about Dune. He was talking about the book.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's really cool then.
Yeah.
I was like, I was looking for something specific to Dune, but that's awesome. And he found us on YouTube. Pretty cool. And you know what's really cool is like, unless he just scanned our show notes.
Yeah, he
had to have been listening.
Watched it or listened to it.
And listened, yeah. That's pretty, or somebody did and told him about it.
Right, somebody.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Saw it in the show notes.
Look at that, John.
He might have tags set up where every time it's mentioned, he gets
that's
notifications or something.
Maybe.
You know,
that's pretty cool. But still, yeah, that's pretty cool.
I prefer to think that he was listening. But
yes, and to the entire show.
Yes.
All the way through.
All the way through.
Luckily.
And he's listening right now as we fumbled through his name to try to figure out who he was. And this is the end of his listening. So.
Yeah, these guys are idiots. Well, if you didn't know that at the beginning, well,
right.
Guess what? That's why you're listening.
You did watch the show, right?
Right. You should have seen the week before.
Yeah. The writing was on the wall.
Yeah.
So.
We haven't been running for 3 years because we keep getting renewed.
Exactly.
It's just we keep pushing it out there.
We renew ourselves.
Yeah. And there's been a few times where we almost canceled ourselves too.
Right.
Oh, all right. That's it for this week though. So that's cool.
Cool.
All right. You ready to we got some fun news to talk about. Let's get to the news. You ready?
All right.
All right.
Yeah. So last week when you were talking about Dune, you made a comment that you wished there would actually be 3 movies.
Yeah.
And apparently Denis Villeneuve agrees with you.
I know.
Because he said in an interview when they were talking about Dune 2 that he would actually like to see this as a trilogy.
Yes.
And adapt the second book in the series, which is Dune Messiah, as like the 3rd movie. So
yeah.
Hopefully,
it makes sense. It just, to me, this felt like Lord of the Rings. Like, especially the way they ended that. And I said that last week. It felt more like the way they ended this first one. It was just like the development of the story. And remember the end of, Fellowship of the Ring, you're just like, okay. If you didn't know, I mean, everybody knew going into that it was one of 3. The difference here was we knew at the beginning of this movie this was going to be one of something. It wasn't an all together because it says part 1.
Right.
The problem with it was that we didn't know that until that opening title.
Right.
Except
I knew.
We did know because the story is long. Right,
but about a week before or 10, once the reviews started coming out, it was kind of made known that this was just it wasn't a complete movie. But prior to that, like the whole 2 years leading up to this, we didn't know that we were only getting part of a movie.
We did part of the book.
I mean, but we knew that Dune was a series of multiple books.
Right.
But I didn't know that the first movie didn't adapt the entire first book until just before it came out.
No, but what we did say is we hope it's more than one movie because one of the biggest failures of the first one is back in the 80s is they tried to do the whole movie in a movie, a whole book in a movie.
In a 2 hour.
And it really needs to be, fleshed out. I mean, this, I kind of wish this was a series, to be honest with you, to get even more, if you had the same production value, which is funny, what a lot of series have. Pretty much the same production value now.
A lot. Well,
look
Apple
at Foundation,
TV does.
Yeah. But that's the thing. It's like this really, it really feels like it should be a trilogy. That's what you want. Even leading up to it, I think that's what people wanted. That was the talk leading up to it because you're like, don't do what they did in the 80s and try to cram it all in. And we're getting it. And the only odd part to me is the fact that it wasn't 1 through 3 greenlit from day 1. That seems weird.
Because even at this point, all we know for sure is we're getting number 2. Part 3 is going to be very dependent on how number 2 does, I guess.
Yeah.
And they're, again, not going to be shot back to back, it looks like, or concurrently. So
that's odd to me, too, because that's a way to save money.
Exactly. So you would think if they are going to do a number 3, they would make that decision. And they may, as this one continues to do, like Dune was still #1 in the box office this week. I mean, it had a significant drop off.
Yeah, like 62% or something.
It's also Halloween weekend, which is not traditionally a movie weekend.
It's also free on HBO Max. So
right. It's still making money and it's still getting subscribers. So if it does well enough, they may go ahead and just pull the trigger on number 3, which would be best because, like you said, it's probably cheaper in the long run. Like doing this second movie the way they did it probably cost them more money because they could have just shot this whole, should have just shot it.
I'd say about 20%, maybe. You probably save 10 to 20% by shooting it all. Because the actors are going to want the same price per movie regardless of the time, but you could save a little money on location shooting and everything like that. So
the plus is they've still done a lot of the legwork already. So even when they go to do number 2, sets are built. A lot of the expenses have been absorbed already, anyways. So.
Have you heard any negative reviews?
I've seen a couple of people on Facebook, that it was boring or too long. I mean, I've heard a couple of people griping about it, but overwhelmingly, it's been positive.
Positive from both people that have never read it and people that have read it. Like Martin has read it, and he says it's very faithful. And I'm like, that you can't. And did you see? I saw a tweet earlier today. They're like, a movie is doing well when they tweeted out that the sales of the book have gone up. Like crazy. People are just now I'm kind of in that camp, but I want to enjoy the movie first.
Exactly. I said that last week. I'm not going to read the book. I already own the book. I've got it on Kindle. I've had it for a while. But I am now going to go back and reread the Boom series, House Atreides.
Oh, okay.
I read the first issue when it came out, almost a year ago, and, it really didn't mean anything to me, and I didn't get into it. But now I am going to read it because it is basically the story that leads up to the beginning of this movie where the Emperor is giving control, of Dune to House Atreides. And it's kind of all the events leading up to that. So now having seen this movie, I'm very interested to go back and read that comic. So I'm probably going to start that this week, actually, because I think number 11 comes out this month, and then next month will be the end of it. So,
cool.
I'll be able to pretty much just binge the whole thing.
Yeah.
So,
that's cool.
Yeah.
It's funny listening to Martin and Nick, and it was great. Martin had the information, like, bam, he grabbed it, but I'm sitting there and I'm yelling at my, headphones. I'm at work, and Nick is like, he was saying that they, it was marketing snafu and them not marketing this as a multiple movie thing, and you thought maybe going into it. So I kind of agree with that. But then he was like, he's kind of our age anyways. I think he's a little younger than us, but he still kind of grew up around the same time. And he's like all just getting upset. Like, I got to wait 3 years for this. And this is a travesty and everything. Right. And then finally Martin, and I'm going, the original trilogy of Star Wars was 3 years between every single movie. And we had no internet. We barely knew, especially as kids, we barely knew there was another movie coming to get to Empire. Never mind, it took 3 years. This is only going to take 2 years. And then finally, Martin brought up the information and he compared it. But it was 77,
really,
80,
we got
and 83.
spoiled. Really, we got spoiled by Lord of the Rings. Because prior to that, there was nothing that was only a year apart. And even sequels to movies that we knew we were getting, we always had to wait 2 years for them.
Oh, yeah.
It was really Lord of the Rings and the fact that they were groundbreaking, really, when it comes to like shooting all 3 movies. Like nobody had done that before.
That was like, people were saying that was crazy.
The fact that the studios were willing to sink that much time and money into something was, and it proved to be, so beneficial, but they didn't. That was a big risk going into it.
Oh, yeah. And what if that flops? What if
Right.
Fellowship flops? And now you're sitting there with, well, we've got these ones in the can. What do we do with them? It's like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And I just
straight to video.
Yeah. Exactly.
So,
but yet
but like I said, that, between that and then
Ernest goes to
Infinity
Mordor.
War / Endgame, those were the only times where we've really gotten a shortened window. 2 years is standard between movies.
Yeah.
So don't get me wrong, I would love to get it next year, but
But it's funny because we're caught in, I understand where Nick's coming from, of course, because we're in that day and it's like, I want it now. We're used to, especially, I don't think it's movies that have gotten us into this point. It's the, streaming services. It's it's these shows and these series where like, I want the rest now. But you remember when we first started this podcast, the conversation was when Apple TV came out, and actually it was, DC Universe. They were the first ones to start dropping the content weekly. Right. Because Netflix was the only game in town, and they just dropped it all at once.
Binged. Right.
And that was one of the, quote, water cooler conversations, is that, like, which do you prefer and I'm like, I kind of like the weekly thing because it gives us something to talk. And here we are today. It's not even a conversation. We have both. We love both. It's great. Right. Like you and I, we're going to be doing the Karate Kid binge watch on New Year's Day. Looking forward to that. But then at the same time, it's this weekly drops that it's great because we get to come in here and talk and hang out and talk about these shows 1 week at a time. And it actually brings us back a little bit to when we were kids and shows dropped once a week. And if you caught it, you talked about it with your friends. And it's just, but we're so used to getting a series and then next week fulfilling that answer, regardless of what happens. And now a movie like Dune, where it's so popular, and I don't blame Nick at all. I want it tomorrow. I want, like I told you last week, I wanted it right at the end of this thing. I'm like, come on. I'm like, it was so good. And that's a testament to the movie. And that's the other thing that we're all concentrating on box office numbers, but HBO Max and, Warner Brothers, they see their numbers. They know, I mean, we never see that. They must be like, okay, we're going to green light this. We're going to green light that because they're seeing the downloads and the views. I mean, we can go on our YouTube page and see the downloads and the views and how long somebody watched. Can you imagine the software they've got running for that? I don't think they're flying in the dark. They know. No. It's like,
no, they know.
DJ's watching it again. Oh, DJ's watching this scene again. And they know everything. So they know the popularity and judging by all the conversations, just you saying, I haven't seen a negative review, but just you saying like, oh yeah, they were bored. Well, then they're not paying attention. So it's like nothing credible negative anyways. So. But.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, but all right.
I mean, again, not everything is for everybody. So there's always going to be somebody that doesn't like something, and that's a valid response, But it's been overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah, and especially at this time with what's going on with the pandemic and people being hesitant to go to movies, but having it on HBO Max and being able to get that data and know what they're in for Dune 2 and hopefully 3 and things are looking up. So it is weird though. Warner Brothers, that just seems to be their pattern where they just can't commit because they're so gun shy of like, well, we committed to this and look at what happened. It's like, I mean, didn't they commit to a trilogy for like Batman v Superman and then this and that, and it all just flopped. So I just feel like they're kind of gun shy, which is a shame for great stuff like this, but
it is.
It'll be here eventually. So, all right.
It will. Time will go by. Like we'll have so much in between that, by the time it comes, we'll be
right.
We won't. Really have
and that's the other thing. It's not. I mean, we have all sorts of content. We have all sorts of stuff, and plenty to talk about. And by the time it gets here, we'll be like, oh my god, I can't believe it's here already. Right. Yeah. Awesome. So, We have more Warner news coming up.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of all of that we just talked about in June, what you won't see going forward in 2022 is any more day and date movie releases on HBO Max. So, we'd kind of heard this already.
Yeah.
Like, this is not the first
Makes
time
sense.
they've said it, but I guess it came up again this week. One of the executives at Warner confirmed that 2022 movies will not debut day and date on HBO Max. So at this point, it's November 2nd. We've got about 2 months left in 2021. So maybe we get one more release of a big movie on HBO Max. Maybe
Matrix.
not. Oh, The Matrix.
Matrix.
Okay. Right. So one more release.
That's a biggie.
Yeah. And then that's probably it. So
yeah. And that's a big one.
Get ready to go back to the movies. Yeah.
Oh, we're already there.
I'm already there. Although again, I didn't see Dune in the theaters, but
you had
wasn't
a choice.
Because lack of It wasn't because lack of desire to. It just didn't work out that weekend. And I wanted to watch it.
I still have yet to see Bond, and it's because I can't. I mean, it's an hour and a half, but I honestly think I definitely would have seen Dune before Bond. I do believe that. But
going to the theater,
yeah, going to the theater. If I had to see it, I would have seen Dune before Bond.
Right.
But Bond is an hour, 2:40, and I know Dune is long too, but I'm just
it's the same as Dune, yeah.
Right. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, now I see it. And the other thing that stinks, Dune came out shortly after Bond, so they pulled Bond from the good theater.
Right.
So now I've got to see it on the crappier
Well, and they're going to be
system
pulling Dune. They're going to be pulling Dune this week because Eternals comes out. So
right.
Now you're going to have to go to screen number 13 to see Bond because
right.
It's going to be in the little 4-seat theater.
Yeah.
By the time you go to see it.
My theater. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So there is a benefit to it, but at the same time, it's like, you got to keep those theaters supported.
Right.
To a degree. But.
To a degree.
All right. Next up we have, this is fun.
Yeah. An actress called Lisette Alexis. Not familiar with her.
No, I'm not either.
But she has been cast as the lead in the National Treasure series on Disney+. So I knew that they were remaking this as a series, and I knew that they were going to switch to a female lead. We just didn't know who it was going to be, and now we do. Again, I don't know who she is, but I like the National Treasure movies, so I'm looking forward to this. Now again,
I get Shawshank by them all the time.
Are they great movies, or is it just Nicolas Cage? You know what I mean?
They're just fun.
I'm not sure that it's going to be as good without Nicolas Cage, but
it depends.
We'll see.
If it's got the same type of humor,
but hopefully it's a fun series.
And it's a fun take on like Lost Symbol. It's a fun take on that. It's the lore of all the different things, the history type stuff, and it's just fun. And it is, and like I said, I get Shawshank by it all the time. I'm flipping the channels, and I'll be like, all right.
Yeah.
It's like, and it is like Nicolas Cage. He's just, he's addictive.
He is.
You get stuck. You're like, oh, all right. All right. Next up.
All right. We're going to turn on the rumor mill once again. We've talked about this a few times, but the rumor is that Marvel is going to begin production on its Nova standalone movie in 2023. That's beginning production, so this is likely a 2024 release.
Yeah.
And it probably just fills the slot of one of the to be announced movie titles that they have reserved. So again, those things could be anything. We don't know what they are. Nova has long been rumored to be getting a standalone movie, so we don't know for sure, but hey, I'd be all for it.
Cool. Yep. All right. And we have is this a rumor or is this legit?
This is legit. This is for HBO Max. So we had heard that Michael B. Jordan was working on a quote unquote Black Superman series. We didn't know what character they were going to be focusing on specifically, whether it was Calvin Ellis or Val Zod or even just a black Clark Kent. So news broke this week that it is in fact Val Zod, and the series has found its writers, Darnell Mateer and Josh Peters. Not sure what they've worked on, but this is just a little bit more concrete news on this series that I don't think we had before. If we did, I didn't know it. As far as it being Val Zod and that it was going to be a series on HBO Max. So
yeah.
Hey, again, all for it. I know that HBO Max is working on just umpteen number of DC properties for series in development on their platform. So I think this would be awesome. I'm actually, really excited for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would be cool too. And the image that I have up on YouTube, the picture, have you seen? I don't know if this is just what they came up with. Collider is the headline that I grabbed just for the image. But the suit, what it looks like, it's kind of like got a white cape, blue. It's a blue suit with a white cape. It's kind of white and blue theme. I don't know if you've seen
that's
it.
the comic. I haven't seen that.
Oh,
image,
have you?
But that should be the comic costume.
Okay. It looks cool. It looks really cool.
It's very
the
cool.
image of it, Michael B. Jordan as Superman. It looks really cool. So
now again, it has not been confirmed that he is starring in this.
It's just his. Come on.
He's producing it. Now
he's jacked.
I am quite sure that he's probably starring in it. But that has not been announced yet.
Look, I am not putting him down in any way, but who doesn't want to be Superman?
Well, right.
It's like it.
There's no way he's producing this and
that
not
looks
starring
like that.
But it has not been officially announced.
I mean, the guy looks like Superman. He's built like Superman to start with, and then he's gonna produce an entire movie and go, no, I'm gonna give it to somebody else.
I'll get somebody else.
He doesn't even need like Henry Cavill. He doesn't need the suit. He looks like Superman. Michael B. Jordan looks like Superman. He's jacked. I don't think he's gonna grab a bag of Doritos and get behind the camera. He's gonna be like, nope, I'm Superman. So no way. I mean, if I could produce a Superman movie, I'd probably try to be Superman, and they'd be like, no.
Right, I would at least try.
Right. Exactly.
I would let them tell me no.
Right.
So.
And then my stunt double. Oh my God, that stunt double from
from
Only
Murders in the Building. Yeah, that was pretty good.
When she walked in the door, I burst out laughing. And Jen's like, "Who is that?" I'm like, "It's Jane Lynch." It was so funny. Great.
I can't think of her. What's her name? Jane
Lynch.
Krasinski? Oh, Jane Lynch.
Jane Lynch.
I don't know why I thought Krasinski.
Yeah, it's Jane Lynch. And then later on, and they're like, yeah, she doubled in his sex scene.
Yeah. That was awesome.
Because his hip thrusts were unnatural. And then what about later on when he was like all drugged up and he's on the floor in the hallway and he's doing it, and that's all you can think as a viewer. You're like, yep, they're unnatural.
Yeah, they're unnatural.
Oh, that show was great.
It was.
But not to get to Real World too early. But
well, I talked about it last week, but
yeah. So I finished it this week. So Jen finished it this
Good
week.
deal.
So yeah. Well, I think we only had the one episode left, but all right. That was good. This last one.
Yeah,
last one. This isn't the last one. This next one. Sorry.
Again, this is apparently it was already known information, but I didn't know it. But the showrunner for The Witcher was teasing plans for the season 3 storyline. And so what that confirmed to me was that season 3 had been confirmed previously. Reading the story, it did mention that news came out months ago, but I don't remember us ever talking about it. But yeah, it looks like season 3 for The Witcher has been confirmed and is already sort of in development.
Yeah.
Season 2 drops in about a month and a half. So,
yeah, like a month, beginning of December, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like a month from now. And speaking of that, just reminded me, we have this little piece right here. Let me grab this. There we go. All right. That Theo commented, asked me if I was looking forward to season 2 of The Witcher, and did I see season 1? And I was like, yeah. It's like, if you listen to our podcast, I watched it twice because John gave me the special map to get to it.
I gave you the timeline.
The time map. And then I was like, but I loved the show. And it's like, when you and I started talking about it, I was like, oh, you're right. The time. And like, I didn't know who certain characters were, but going back, understanding the time map, I loved it even more. But it was funny. It's like, that's what made it so great, is that I actually liked it and I kind of didn't get all of it. But I mean, love Henry Cavill. I thought it was very well produced, had some great action. Is a great show. But then when you get to understand it even more, I don't know, is this one going to jump around or not?
I never went back and rewatched it after that, but I liked it a lot too.
Yeah.
And no, I do know that the showrunner got some criticism for the way season 1 was laid out. So I believe it's she said that season 2 would be a lot more straightforward.
More linear?
Yeah, and more linear.
Beginning?
And I think that makes sense anyways, because season 1 told multiple stories to set up where we ended. And I think now it just kind of picks up
a la Foundation.
And goes. Right.
And I think I mentioned that in my other podcast, that I was like, you know what? It didn't bother me that it jumped like that. It was nice getting the information after the fact, but it also taught me to, like, hey, pay attention. You know, like, this is when you see this stuff, and when you see stuff happening like this, hey, it kind of makes it a little bit more intriguing and makes you more aware and pay attention more. And that's what I do like about Foundation, is that, yeah, you got to pay attention, jumping around here. And then it stinks in the moment, but when you figure it out, like, oh my God, this is the past or whatever. Because sometimes they jump. I think Foundation gives you a little timestamp most of the time.
They do, but a lot of like, for instance, The Witcher did not do that.
No, they didn't.
You didn't realize at first that you were even jumping around.
No,
it was just confusing. And then you're like, oh, wait a minute. You know, I think it was when one of the characters that we had already seen die.
Yeah, and then you see again later.
We see her again later, and I was like, okay, something's going on here. And then by the end, you kind of have put it all together. And so...
but that can be fun.
It was fun. It was a little confusing, but the fact that it was bingeable and you could just watch it and go through it, actually, I think in the case of that show, helped. If that was weekly, it might have been harder to... Although, again, they're doing it with Foundation, so maybe not. But the fact that we had it all at once and you could just binge all 8 episodes and kind of figure it all out by the end... I think you didn't have too much time to question a lot.
Speaking of bingeable and stuff, and I know Nick likes to listen to the show, and he goes back and, you know, he does the whole show. He's been wondering if he should start Foundation or not, or wait to binge it. And in my opinion, this is why I really recommend the podcast, is because it does bounce around. And if you binge it, you're going to have a tendency to sit down and watch a bunch. And I think getting that time in between and then listening to the podcast or talking with a buddy and saying, hey, what did you think of this? It gives you a time to actually absorb the show, because this, like, Foundation is a lot like Dune. There's a lot to be unpacked. There's a lot to absorb. And I think as a binging type thing, it's not like, you know, Cobra Kai, where you don't need to absorb a lot in Cobra Kai. It's just fun, right? Well, these, I feel like, hey, if you want to binge it, you can binge it. But I just feel like, to me, it's more fun to get it and then have that whole week to listen to a podcast or talk to somebody about it and just really enjoy it.
I agree, but I also would say at this point, if you haven't started it yet, like, you're 5 episodes into probably an 8-episode season, so you're almost forced to binge it anyways,
right?
Because you're going to binge more
I think it's
than
10
half
episodes.
Of it.
10
Is it
episode.
10?
Yeah, it's a 10
Okay,
episode
so,
season.
I mean, you're going to be forced to binge
Right.
the first 5 anyways.
But
so
he was asking
at this point,
Martin,
I don't know if it matters one way or the other. Although, again, you could get caught up and then just do it weekly. But,
right.
But I don't know. Halfway through it, I might just wait till it was done and watch.
Or you could just take it slow. Watch one, listen to the podcast.
Well, you could just because it's all there. You're not forced to watch it all.
Right. But yeah, he was asking Martin, should I start now? And I'm like, that's my recommendation. At least start now. And then, if you binge through it, then you can finish the rest weekly. But I think it's a great show, and it's worth discussing.
It is jumping around, but it's not confusing. Like,
no,
I don't think
because they have the time.
The Witcher The Witcher was more confusing than Foundation, because Foundation kind of lets you know where you are.
John, we got to our podcast, and you told me they jumped around. I was like, oh, they did?
Yeah.
So there you go. I missed out on a lot, but I still enjoyed it. So
where this one, even though they're jumping around,
right?
I don't think it's not confusing to where you need extra time to absorb it. So I think you could just consume it and get caught up and then go from there.
Right. Yep.
Because there's 10. Like, if there was only 8, I would probably just wait until it was over and watch them all.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
but
pretty
if
sure
there's 10, if there's 10 or 11, I would probably get caught up and then just, watch it out through the weeks.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 10 because and it's supposed to be 8 seasons.
Yeah.
They were saying that. So, yeah, they're listing on IMDb 11 episodes, but that's because they always list the one for season 2.
The first one, right.
So we have November 19th is episode. Oh, wow. Episode 10 comes out on November 19th. So, yeah.
So we've got
we're almost done, yeah. Because we had mystery.
So there's 3 left.
This week is the 8th. Yeah, right. 8th episode. So, yeah, start.
So, again, at this point, I don't know. I would just.
Well, you could start by the time you're done. You probably.
Depends on how. Well, I'd binge all 8 in an afternoon. So, it depends. It depends on how quickly it takes you to watch those 8.
It's 10 hours. You can't. Afternoon takes longer or shorter than 10 hours. I don't know. In Texas, maybe an afternoon is 10 hours. Sun stays up a long time down here.
It does. But again, I would probably just wait. At this point, I would just wait till it's over. But
I would start.
That's me.
Let us know.
That's me.
Now we're arguing on what Nick should do.
Right. You do you, man. We gave you the info. There's 7 out of 10 done. Do with it what you will.
Do you want to go with the guy that's telling you to just binge it? Or do you want to go with the guy that didn't even know an entire series had a time jump in it?
Right.
You make the call.
Do you want to go with immediate gratification or do you want to go with...
Or with dum-dum.
Yeah. With the long haul. So.
Yep. All right. So you got what do we get? This is the last one you got,
more,
and then I've got one.
I
got one more thing I want to talk about while we're here. But go ahead.
And this isn't a big thing to me necessarily because I'm not necessarily a big fan of this, but I know there are a lot of people that are. But it looks like they're working on a 3rd Boondock Saints movie, and it is bringing back the stars Norman Reedus and Sean Patrick Flannery.
Okay, I got another one for us.
Okay.
I'll tell you.
I'm not a huge fan of. I didn't really care for this series personally, but like I said, I know a lot of people like it. So,
don't ask me why.
Okay.
So, how I get our images and I'm looking forward to that. But anyways, how I get our images is that what I do is you send me your breaking news stuff, and I literally copy what you wrote. And I paste it on my phone because it gives you the vertical view. I paste it into the, my app on my phone, and I bring up whatever headlines it has, and I click on the first headline, screen grab it, and I put it on YouTube.
Right.
So you sent Boondock Saints 3 is in development with Norman Reedus and Sean Patrick Flannery set to return.
Right.
The headline I got from Deadline. Christopher Nolan chooses Universal Pictures for his film about J. Robert Oppenheimer and the A-bomb.
Oh, that was not part of my notes.
No, but I am very interested in that movie. For one, I think that's a very interesting story. And two, anything that Christopher Nolan does, I'm all in. So
there you go. When created news.
I'm not reading I don't read the notes. I just go by the pictures. So like when you say what's next, I click on, I've already loaded them up into the YouTube thing. And I'm like, boom, all right. And I'm like, yeah, let's talk about this. And I'm reading it going, that ain't the same thing. Then I click on our notes. I was like, oh, Boondock Saints. Whoop, drop the ball there. But listeners get an extra piece of news.
That's funny.
So no Boondock Saints graphic.
Okay.
But so yeah, I'm kind of excited about that Christopher Nolan. So
yeah,
that would be good. Last thing I wanted to talk to you about while we were here, and a question to go along with it. The Morbius trailer. Did you get a chance to see it?
Yes.
What'd you think?
It looked good.
Looks awesome.
I think it looks really good. I think
the
quality of that looks a lot better than Venom.
Yes. Doesn't it look a lot closer to the MCU? Movie. Yep.
It does. Yes.
Okay. And because we have Michael Keaton in the trailer.
Yes.
That made me ask this. Who do you think is going to replace Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow as the most prominent thread? Do you know what I mean is like, so Black Widow showed up in Iron Man 2.
Right.
And pretty much was the thread almost throughout the rest of, the MCU, really.
Right.
She went through almost every single movie. She became a great character that they ended up giving her own movie, but it was her and maybe even more so obviously than Hawkeye. Right. But she played a prominent part in the Avengers. She was the one that kept them together after Infinity War and things didn't work out. She was the one running everything, but even more so as the character, what I mean is, do you think there'll be another character like that we'll see, like presumably a bit character that they make greater in the MCU, and that we'll see pop up in like all these different MCU movies going forward?
I don't know who it will be. I mean, I'd be surprised if there wasn't somebody.
Yeah.
Because that's something that they like to do. But I'm just trying to think of who it could. Like right now, the first one that came to mind was actually like Mark Ruffalo. Because
he's too big of a character already, though.
Yeah. But like we know he's going to pop up in the She-Hulk series. And but you're thinking somebody along the lines of like Darcy or Jimmy Woo or somebody, that could show up everywhere.
Yeah.
And,
but there's still a character though. Like Darcy doesn't feel like she's big enough to fill a Black Widow shoe.
No.
But at the same time, it's, you know what I mean? So you need a character that's not necessarily Bruce Banner or the Hulk, as big as a character as that, but you don't want such a bit character that's just like, I mean, those pop up here and there. Right. I was thinking of like maybe like and obviously by the guy playing him, J. Jonah Jameson could pop up here. Right. He could be on, and it would be a kind of a different role than Black Widow, but he could be in all of them, tying them together. Right. But I'm trying to think of somebody maybe we saw in Venom that would have done it already, but I'm not really sure, or Venom 2. Right. I'm not really sure if it's a character we've seen yet, but I just found it interesting that like Michael Keaton, seeing him in that trailer, and you're right, that trailer, the production level on this movie looks absolutely fantastic. I love that they tied in at the end of the trailer, the Venom. He's like, I'm Venom. Right. And he's like, oh, I'm just kidding. It's like, which is really cool. But it just really made me think of like how big Black Widow became and how integral she was to the entire MCU. And I'm wondering if they'll do that again. So it'll be interesting to see.
Well, I think they're always looking for that to happen, but I think sometimes it's organic, like
Good point. Yeah.
characters just resonate and then kind of take on a life of their own. So, but I think they're always looking, especially, MCU is they want everything interconnected anyway. So I think they're always looking for that to happen.
Right.
I just don't know. You're right. It might not be a character we've even seen yet. But I'm sure there'll be somebody that is going to take that, kind of take that role.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be fun. It'll be fun to see. Yeah. Couple 2-3 years from now, we'll be talking about some new character and we'll be like, that's the one.
Yeah.
Look at that. There it is.
Yeah.
All right. You ready for the next segment?
I am.
All right.
It'll be quick.
Here we go, John. John, what am I going to spend my money on this week?
You got me.
Movies.
Yeah. I don't know. We do not have any speculator notes this week. So.
Oh, man. Okay. So, all right, John. That's it. Well, I can't miss out on this then. So let's move this show right along. Let's get right to your favorite sounder. John, let's get into back issue bonus.
Well, we don't. We don't have that either.
I know.
That's part of speculator. That's part of the notes.
Yeah.
I thought you didn't realize.
I'm I'm running the show. I get the note. I know what's coming next. I haven't seen you this happy and laughing this much. Like for me, like, DJ, that's part of it. I don't have that. I know.
We don't have those either. Yeah. I'm just jumping. I'm just bouncing on the board.
Yep, exactly.
There's nothing to dive into.
It's an empty pool.
I'm just jumping up and down.
Oh, hey, sexy.
Yeah.
How come nobody ever asks guys to jump up and down on a trampoline?
Yeah. I wonder.
Because we would.
Yeah.
And then you couldn't get us off of it.
You're right. You couldn't get us to stop.
Time to come in. Nope, not done yet.
I'm still bouncing. Well, put your pants on at least. The neighbors are watching.
Please, no flash photography. Oh, boy.
Funny.
Oh, God.
I was in the pool. No, you weren't. It's empty.
We already established that. Oh, God.
Oh, God.
All right. Now that I can breathe again.
Yep.
All right. Are you ready to get to Hey, John, do we have any FOC?
We do.
All right.
As a matter of fact.
Oh, God. It's a good thing we do, because it wouldn't be the same if we couldn't get demonetized.
I know.
Oh.
There's not a lot of FOC, but we do have some.
Wah, wah. No, yeah. There's actually quite a few. I remember.
Mostly DC. Yeah, mostly DC.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. Still got some here.
Yeah, so starting with DC,
yeah,
we have variant covers for Batman number 118 by Francesco Mattina.
Nice cover, too.
Very nice.
Very nice.
We have Dark Knights of Steel number 2, Joshua Middleton.
I like this cover, but her face is almost like
too
angry.
This didn't feel Josh Middleton to me.
No, but the face was a little John Romita Jr.-ish.
Yeah.
It's not, you know what I mean? Like, like when we used to, like, you draw something and be like, something's off. And then Mr. McPhee would come over and look over your shoulder and go, yeah, your proportions are off here. And you'd be like,
ran out of eraser
there. Yeah, it's really weird. There's just, I don't know if it's just because it's an angry face, but it's not like I don't like angry Wonder Woman, but it just seems a little off. Maybe too much mascara. I don't know.
It's a little off.
I don't know. But I like the artwork, though. I like the way it's drawn. I like the art behind her, like the palette they used behind her and everything. And pretty cool. Just that something off there. Not really sure what it is.
No, I agree. I agreed when I picked it. I was like, it's not bad, but it's not quite
Right.
what we're used to seeing with him.
Yeah.
And then this next one I actually like a lot too.
This is cool.
Detective
Yeah.
Comics Annual 2021.
Yep.
This is Jason Fabok.
Okay.
Cover. And,
That's a cool cover
yeah, it's
too.
Really cool.
Yeah, really cool with the I like the lightning and the Batman obviously, and then all of the villains there. Well, I thought there was 4 of them, and it's actually not. It's 3 of them. It is
3.
4 of them. It's 4.
I'm not looking at it.
It's
right
4.
Now,
You
so
have you have Harley, Penguin, Joker, Mr. Freeze. But I thought the 5th one, which I thought was Mr. Freeze, is holding a glass with. I can't tell from here what's in it. Maybe his wife.
Maybe
Shrunken.
Could be Nora.
Shrunken? Did he shrink her? I don't remember that.
No, he didn't. So
but all right, moving right along.
Yep, and then new series from DC. We have Batman: One Dark Knight, issue number 1. This is a 3-issue series with 2 covers.
Warning to Dr. Joe, it's an oversized.
It is Black Label, oversized.
Mm-hmm.
We have Batman Fear State Omega, which is the end of the event. This is actually just a one-shot. There's 2 covers there. And now we have a couple of books that are not Batman. We have One Star Squadron, issue number 1. This is going to be a 6-issue miniseries with 2 covers.
Nice a DC to venture out like that.
Yeah, and do a non-Batman. DC does stand for Batman only. They just got the initials wrong. And then World of Krypton issue number 1. This is a 6-issue series with 2 covers.
All right.
From Image, we have King of Spies issue number 1. This is a 4-issue series with multiple covers.
That cover is very interesting.
It's very cool.
Title and the cover. It's like, what is it? Like,
it's kind of James Bondy. It reminds me of a James Bond movie poster. If I'm not mistaken, this is by Mark Miller, and if I'm not mistaken, this is in the world of Kingsman.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So.
Oh wow.
Which I enjoy a lot.
Yeah.
I like those movies a lot. So.
Yeah. All right. Cool. That's kind of what it looks like. It's awesome.
Yeah. And then moving on to Marvel, we didn't have any variant covers, but we have Darkhold Spider-Man number 1 with 2 covers, and King Conan number 1. This is a 6-issue series with multiple covers. This is another one I'm looking forward to from AWA. We have Hotel Volume 2, issue number 1. This is a 5-issue series with 2 covers. I really liked the first Hotel. I think this was actually the first. I think this was the first AWA book that I read. And I really liked it. Yeah,
yeah, it was good.
Looking forward to that. From Ablaze Comics, we have Animal Castle number 1 with multiple covers, and from Dynamite, we have Evil Ernie number 1 with multiple covers. And that is it for FOC.
Oh, what happened to Evil Ernie? Where'd the picture go? There it is. Sorry about that. A little behind on that picture. Evil Ernie. So if you're on YouTube, you're getting to see Evil Ernie for a second. There we go.
There we go.
All right. Well, that'll do it for that. You ready to get to... Where the heck did it go? There we go. You ready to get to checkout?
Sure.
All right. A couple of good books this week.
Yeah.
I think.
First up, we have House of Slaughter, number 1. This is from Boom Studios, written by James Tynan IV and Tate Bromball. And it had art by Chris Sheehan and Werther Deladera. We've talked about this book a couple of times. This is the spin-off from Something is Killing the Children. So if you've read Something is Killing the Children, you know one of the main characters is Erica Slaughter, and she is the monster hunter. And this book is basically the prequel series that sets up the House of Slaughter.
It does start during the book, though, and then it backtracks right away.
It does. It starts out with like present day, and then we get like a backstory.
15 years.
And then we jump back at the end to present day, it looks like. But yeah, this is basically... So what we find out is House of Slaughter is basically just Hogwarts for monster hunters. You've got
good call.
It's basically just the school, and you have multiple houses, I guess, that are being trained to hunt monsters. We meet like the white masks and the black masks.
Yeah. They have to develop their masks.
If you followed Something is Killing the Children, you'll know Erica is a black mask. And the hero of this book, Aaron Slaughter, is also a black mask. So, this is I guess the Gryffindor of the House.
That's how they just separate them. It looked
but this seems like the team that we're supposed to be rooting for. We're supposed to be rooting for the black masks.
Right.
The white mask groups, they're not portrayed very well in this. But obviously, it's just like a rivalry between the black masks and the white masks, and their training, and we're meeting the characters and setting up the story. But Aaron Slaughter is a black mask, and like halfway through the book, he is told that he has to have a white mask as his roommate. And as he's showing this guy around the school, you kind of get to see that you don't know, like this guy's a white mask, but when the other white masks come along and start giving Aaron some trouble, this guy stands up for his roommate as opposed to like his classmates. But he's also looking to get into trouble. And he's got some kind of past, there's something going on with him that we don't know yet. And then you do get kind of a revelation at the end of the book, though, about both of these characters. So, I thought it was pretty good. Like I said last week, I fell off of Something is Killing the Children, so I'm not as up to date with what's going on in that book. And I liked this book, but I'm not sure I'm going to keep reading it if I'm not reading the other one too.
Right.
So that's not a knock on this at all. I think it was well done. Again, lots of people like Something is Killing the Children, and you'll probably like this book too. I will give it at least one more issue, but I might not stick with it just because, like I said, I'm not reading the other one. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
That's kind of my take on the book was, I thought it was a good story. And like you, I'm very familiar with Something is Killing the Children. I haven't finished the first series. I'm way behind. Like you, I kind of fell off, but it was good. I don't get the exact popularity of it, like how big it really is.
That's the thing. I think it's right. I think it's good, but I don't think it's great. And I don't think it deserves the hype and the attention that it gets.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. It's almost like it's. I mean, I like Tinian, but it's like, oh wow, Tinian did it. If you put another name on it, I don't think it would have been as popular.
Right.
And
and I'm wondering how much of this was written by him and how much of it was written by Tate Brumbaugh.
Yeah.
Like, is it just written by Tate and it's got James's name on it?
But this story here, I thought it was a decent story, but I can't really say that if you haven't read any, Something is Killing the Children, I don't think you're going to be like, well, I'm just going to jump on here. It's a decent story. You'd get the story that's in this book, but you wouldn't have the passion for the characters.
Right. Like I said, I don't think you have to.
I don't get, what is this? Because you don't know. The whole idea of going through this story is knowing what they've already been through. If you have none
like
of that,
I said, nothing in this book was confusing to me because I was not reading Something is Killing the Children.
Right.
But I also didn't have a connection to
That's my
characters.
Point. That's my point. It's like, but you also have a working knowledge of Something is Killing the Children.
I do,
but I'm saying
issue 2 or 3 though. Like I've only read a couple of issues of it.
I read a little more than that, but still, I just don't. And maybe that's why I'm just like, it's if you're reading Something is Killing the Children, then you're going to love this, absolutely, and that's why they put the book out. But I can't say that if you've never read Something is Killing the Children, this isn't where you jump on. I would recommend go read that first, then come back and you'd have you'd have a new perspective of this.
Probably.
So, okay, and it doesn't mean I'm not saying it's bad. That's my point. Is it is good, but I really feel like it's an addition to something is killing the children. So
right.
All right. Which is very interesting. So let's get to the next book because it's kind of the same thing, but
it
not.
Is. Well, you're right. It is and it isn't. The next book is, Gunslinger Spawn, issue number 1. Obviously, Image Comics. It was written by Todd McFarlane and Alice Cott. It had art by Brett Booth and Various. Various is that, there's like 4 stories in this book. After the main story, which takes about half of the book, which was written by Todd McFarlane and drawn by Brett Booth, you got like 3 little backup stories that give you a little bit more of the origin of Gunslinger Spawn. So you had different writers and artists there.
Yeah.
So this, again, this spins out of the Spawn universe one-shot that we got a couple of months ago, where, we introduced some new spawns, and Gunslinger Spawn was one of them. And, this is basically his ongoing book. So he is basically, a character that originated in the 1800s. He's an Old West gunslinger, but finds himself in present day. So we spent a little bit of time with him just trying to figure out how motorcycles work and what gasoline is, and different things like that. Him trying to get around, but he hooks up with a guy that again you think is seemingly just random until you get to the end of the book and you realize that it's kind of fate that brought these characters together.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't know.
You know what I thought of when all that was happening? Was
What's
that
that?
Frankenstein book, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, and you were like under the floorboards, like, oh, how convenient.
Well, this was also very convenient.
Oh, it was,
because
but that's
there's
the
a whole
story.
town full of people he could have run into.
Right, exactly.
And he runs into the one guy who is somehow connected. Yeah.
The kid.
The kid whose father is somehow connected to all of this.
What are the odds?
Well,
but it was great.
I
like
would say, what are the odds? But
I loved how you put it, though. It was fate. I love that. That was great.
I'm starting to just put that stuff aside.
Nice.
And not get too wrapped up in it. But like,
believe it or not, that was the goal of this entire podcast.
Right.
Just to get you to start doing that.
Like you were saying about something is killing the House of Slaughter, though, where this is kind of the same and it kind of isn't.
Right.
So now we have 3 books, right? We have Spawn, we have King Spawn, and we have Gunslinger Spawn.
Yeah.
I am reading King Spawn and Gunslinger Spawn, but I am not reading Spawn.
Right.
And I will probably continue to not read Spawn, but keep reading these books.
Yes.
Because I felt like I was able to jump in at the beginning of these stories. And even though King Spawn is Al Simmons and, is basically Spawn, it's a separate story. And this is this is not even Al Simmons. This is a completely new character.
Yeah.
So I feel like you can, at least until they start doing big crossovers, which I'm sure are going to come. But I feel like for me, I could read these 2 books without reading the main title.
Yes.
Yeah. And like I said, I liked this, and I will probably continue to do that and read Gunslinger and King Spawn, even though I'm not watching. Like I said, I'm sorry, even though I'm not reading the main Spawn story. But yeah, I thought this was pretty good. Like I said, I didn't know much about Gunslinger Spawn. I'm sure
nobody
been
did.
Introduced. Yeah, introduced
well, he was only
before.
He was only introduced in the in that Spawn universe book. That was it.
Well, but it says here, according to this synopsis, that he is one of the most popular characters in the entire Spawn mythology. So
really,
he's probably not brand new.
How'd that get by me? I'm such a long-time Spawn reader.
I know. I don't know how you didn't know that. But yeah, I thought, I almost stopped at the main, once I got to the end of the main story, I almost stopped because generally that's, really all you need to read. But I thought the 3 backup stories were kind of cool because they do talk about how he makes his weapons, and they, give you some idea on like who the character was before he moved into the 21st century. But I actually really liked the story that revolved around how he made his weapons
Yes.
And like kind of what it was doing to him physically. And, you know, I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah,
if you
no,
haven't
I
read
know.
it.
It's great.
But, I thought it was really cool the way they were doing that. And, you know, it definitely kind of puts an expiration date on the character a little bit too. You know what I mean?
You don't know.
So,
yeah, but you don't.
yeah.
I don't want to give it away either. But you don't know. It's like
No, you don't know, because if you go back to the original Spawn issues way back in the beginning, his powers were finite until the character became super popular, and Todd McFarlane realized he needed to change that somehow. Otherwise, he wasn't going to be able to keep doing Spawn books. And
kill off the main character, the title character.
Being the writer of the book, he was able to just change his mythology and make it fit. So I'm sure if this is super popular, they'll figure out a way, you know, to do the same thing with Gunslinger Spawn. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I thought this was pretty cool. You know, again, it felt a lot like Spawn, and there's definitely going to be crossover. Like there's no way he's doing all these books with no intention of having big Spawn crossover events.
Right.
But you know, this, at least for now, is pretty standalone. And, you know, I think you can jump in if you're not into the whole mythos, and this is not a bad place to start reading some of it. So.
No, absolutely. And I think between Gunslinger and King Spawn, I think it's almost like genius marketing, because these are two books that you could pick up either one and just start. The artwork is different in each of them. I love Spawn's artwork. King Spawn's artwork is very similar. It's very similar. But the Gunslinger Spawn is a little bit more sketchy, a little bit different, but it kind of goes with the Gunslinger title, right?
Right.
But you could pick up either one and just be like, wow, this is really interesting. The stories are that interesting that even if you don't have any working knowledge of Spawn whatsoever, it's enough to get you intrigued to be like, all right, I'll read. And that's what it kind of did for me. It's like, I've always liked Spawn. I have a working knowledge of Spawn. But when the Spawn universe started back up, I was like, you know what? I'm going to get into that. And it worked for me. It got me into it. And this story, like you said, it's like, well, like the book is, it's multiple stories. But when you're done with that first main story, you just want more. It's like at the end of Dune. I just want more. And those two little stories, what is it? 2 more stories?
There's 3 more, actually.
Oh, is it 3?
Yeah.
I forget all of them. But every single one, you're riveted. And like you said, that weapons one was really good.
Yeah, there was the one where they talk about how he makes his living, and it was the bounty hunter story.
Yeah.
And then you had the story about the weapon, you know, how he makes his weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last story was the one with the little kid in the bar. And
yes. And and that felt very similar to the main story too.
It did, yeah.
So that's but yeah,
because you kind of get the sense like he's kind of got a, you know, I guess he's the demon with a heart of gold. You know what I mean? He's, you know, he's got a soft spot for justice or people that are being persecuted or, you know, bullied, and that comes through in the 2 of the 3 stories. It comes through.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, just the little nugget. He can't read.
Yeah. Which was cool.
But it's from the time, you know, he's
right. That's to say, how many people in the 1800s they couldn't read.
Yeah.
You know,
and like, and the whole, you know, fish out of water type story. He has no idea what a motorcycle is. Right. Has no idea how it works. The kid's like, oh, that's got a lot of horsepower. Yeah, I know what horsepower is.
Right.
But he had to push the motorcycle. He never had to push my horse.
Right.
I mean, there's some great lines.
Yeah.
It's a great story, and it still does have that whole Spawn mythos too. Right. So you can,
because they talk about Cagliostro, and you know, again, there's the angels that are kind of prevalent through the other 2 books. So there's definitely connections there.
Yeah,
but
I love it. Love it. That's I mean, that's my vote for title for the week. So.
Yeah, I liked it more than House of Slaughter. I think of the two, yeah, I enjoyed Gunslinger more.
So. All right, there it is.
I concur.
I concur. All right, let's wrap it up. No.
Okay.
What else did you read?
Stop while I'm ahead.
Yeah, exactly. You want to talk? Did you read King Spawn #3?
I did. Yes.
You don't remember it either, do you?
I don't recall it, but I read it.
It was really good. I know it was really good. Same thing. I was riveted the entire time. And the artwork and I prefer that artwork over the Gunslinger artwork. It's just so vibrant. It's so good. I love it. I love what they're doing there. And even in Gunslinger, though, the eyes, I love how they draw. He's got the green eyes, but the way they highlight it just looks so good. But no, I like King Spawn and how they're it's just such a good story and how they're developing everything that's going on. And like you said, are they going to cross it over? That's the first thing I thought of when Gunslinger showed up. I'm like, is he going to run into them? Are they going to?
Yeah, there's no way that they're not going to bring all these characters together.
Yeah.
Like next summer, there's going to be a huge Spawn event where everything comes together, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So
I didn't think I was going to like Gunslinger. Like when it was announced. I'm like, what is that?
See, and I was thinking that I would like that most of the three.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, it's good that you still liked it then. You had high hopes.
And I did, yeah.
And it paid off.
And so far, I do like it the most of the three.
So. Oh, do you? I like it.
Yeah, so far. Yeah.
So, all right. Daredevil #35. Did you read that?
I did.
And I have a comment on this.
Okay, go ahead, because maybe it'll refresh my memory.
So the story from the beginning, most of the beginning of it is Daredevil. It's not even Daredevil. It's Elektra versus Bullseyes.
Versus the Bullseyes, right. I
versus
remember
the Bullseyes. And while I was reading that, I was just like, wow, this is kind of dragging on a little too long.
Yeah.
And that got me to thinking of I'm like, are we a little worn out? I'm a little bit excited for Zdarsky to be done with Daredevil.
Well, he's wrapping it up, but he's not done with Daredevil. That's the whole thing. He's wrapping up this run.
Yeah.
And then we go into Devil's Reign, which is a Daredevil event.
Right.
And then when we come out of Devil's Reign, he's writing an Elektra Daredevil miniseries.
So he's going the whole Tom King route with Batman.
Yeah.
Pretty much, right?
Yeah. Devil's Reign is more a Kingpin event than it is a Daredevil event. But I imagine Daredevil and Elektra will feature prominently. And then somehow spinning out of that, he's doing this miniseries with Elektra.
Okay.
So he's not leaving the character at all.
Maybe a better way to put it is I'm looking for a fresh story. Because what drew me to this original story way back when was the story. I feel like the story has kind of gotten a little bit stale. It needs to be freshened up a bit. And like I said, even just that part, it's barely Daredevil anymore.
Right.
And by the end...
it feels like it's been an Elektra miniseries already for the last 6 issues.
6? Ever since he went to prison, which was how long ago?
I don't know, 6 or 7
maybe
issues
6
ago,
or
probably.
7.
Yeah.
Just feels long because that's monthly, so...
I mean, it goes back to King in Black, so it's been at least 6 months.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I liked the end of the book, though. As the book wrapped up, and it's like all the characters show up. And we don't have to give it away for people that haven't read it yet. I mean, it is a week old. But that I thought was really cool. And this isn't the last book. There's how many books are left? 1? Is it 36? How many?
I thought it was 37, actually.
Is it 37? So there's 2 left?
I thought it was 37. I think there's 2 left.
So November and December.
Yes.
And then he's done for this year. And then that's it.
Right.
So
right. Devil's Reign is like January, I think.
Right. That's a good run. That's almost a 3-year run. 3, because he started. He started in 19.
Well, it's monthly, so it's 37 months, right?
Right. So it's
give or
3
take.
years. Yeah,
give or
he
take.
started right after we started our podcast in October. They ended the first Daredevil, who I don't remember who was
right, and then we were talking about how in January they were doing the death and return of Daredevil or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then this one started right after that. So
yeah, and Daredevil had died in the last issue of the last run, and you're like, how are they going to bring him back? And next thing you know, we're here at issue 35 saying it's one of the best runs we've had in the last 3 years, if not the top run, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, just reading the beginning of this book, I felt a little stale, but then at the end I was like, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. So the new runs, the new stories that he's telling, I guess that's what I'm looking for. It's just a new, fresh story. And I mean, Zdarsky's great. All the stuff we've been reading.
Yeah, he
great,
is.
So, how about Vader 17?
I read that as well.
It
just felt like a step back because I had already finished reading the War of the Bounty Hunters. You know, it feels like the timing on this book was awkward because that story was already done and we already had seen the end of it. And then we get this chapter.
Yeah, I didn't read War of the Bounty Hunters yet.
Yeah, so it felt out of place.
So now I'm going to say War of the Bounty Hunters is out of place.
Yeah, well, maybe not because then it ends.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? So it was a good book for sure. And again, it's setting up the Crimson Reign series that we're going to get with Kira. And I really liked, well, you know, again, I don't know if we want to spoil things.
I like the ending.
It's a week old already, but
I love the ending.
I did like the ending of this. And I thought it was a good, I did too. And I thought it was a really good book. I just felt like a week late to me because the other event ended.
Right.
So the timing was weird. But yeah, still a great book. And yeah, I like the ending, and I'm looking forward to the next chapter of that series with the Crimson Reign. So
right. Yep. That looks good. And how about Robin number 7?
Yep. Read that.
How many is that book? Is it ending on 8? Or
I don't know. I don't know. Actually, yeah, I don't know how long it goes, but it feels like we're getting
wrap up. I mean, they're down to the final 2.
We're getting close. Like it's probably 8 or 9 issues tops.
Yeah.
They could maybe squeeze 2 more out of this, but
yeah,
unless it just goes to a different storyline. You know what I mean? It could keep going and it could just move on to something else. But it feels like this story that we've had is about over. Because, you know, like you said, we're down to the last 2. It's Robin, or it's Damian and Connor. And, you know.
But then we also
Damian
have.
Can't win, but.
Yeah, we also have the whole story, the reason Damian's there in the first place.
Right.
And the investigate. I mean, it eerily feels a lot like Daredevil. Like he went there on when, you know, Matt went to prison, and we're finding out now after the fact for a different reason. He had a purpose in mind. Well, Robin's kind of the same thing. You know, Damian's kind of doing the same thing. He had a purpose.
He's there for a reason.
Yeah. And I love what they did there too. I don't want to give that away. Because I think this is going to, Robin's one of the ones where I think that's going to be a great trade. You know,
sure.
If you haven't read it, it's like, it's going to be a great read to read that, like, and binge watch or binge read that one from beginning to end. I might even buy that one. That one, it's such a good story. And I've been saying it all along. Damian is like probably my second favorite Robin. I love him. So interesting.
This book has been one of the surprises for me. You know, like it's been surprisingly good. A lot better than I thought going into it.
Honestly, I'll say the same thing. I knew I like Damian, and I thought it would be fun, but I didn't think it would have the depth that it does.
Yeah.
And
it's really good.
Yes. Yep. That's all I read. What else you got? Anything?
Well, Moth's number 5.
Oh, how'd I miss that? What were we down to? A month?
Well, we're down to one more. Yeah, there's one. Yeah, there's one more after this. But just it didn't necessarily stand out as being better than the other 4 issues, but it's still such a great story. You know, I mean, we're at the point now where she's got a month left and things are starting to come to a head. But this book in particular, this issue in particular was pretty good. And you haven't read it, so I don't want to spoil a whole lot of it. But she's actually very, very powerful. Like her powers seem a little innocuous at the beginning, but after this issue,
she can read your mind, for God's sake.
Well, and she's kind of like Omega level mutant. Like she's very powerful. Like she takes over basically. Like she is able to affect, I think, the entire planet in this issue.
Oh man!
At once.
I gotta read that. That's awesome.
major power. And it was really, really great. Like the effect that she had, and then it wearing off. And it was pretty good. It was a great story, and kind of the message there. It was almost like, is it better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all, kind of thing.
Yeah, well,
it's like she showed them something and then they lost it, and it's like, was it better to never have seen it? Kind of thing. So it was really good, really good issue.
That's kind of the basis of the entire thing. Like whether you take the power, it's like, is it better to have had it and lost, and then lost?
Well, it is right. Essentially,
being
being a moth in general is that, right? Because we talk about an expiration date, like you said, and again, I'm
6 months, right? 6
this
months
is comics, so I'm still waiting for something to happen in the next issue where, like, they figure out how to save her.
They Todd McFarlane it.
Yeah, but I feel like she's probably not going to make it. They're probably going to let her die. But I keep holding out hope that something's going to happen and she's not going to have to die at the end of the issue.
You remember the Carmen book where the woman kills herself or so you think, and
you think.
Yeah, and you get to issue 4, and I was like, this is fantastic. It was either issue 4 or 5. And I remember talking to Dr. Joe, and I'm like, I hope this is how they end it, because it was such a bad ending, but it was perfect because the book's about suicide and the regret that you leave behind in your wake when, like, no pun intended, but like the people that you devastate when you do something like that, and then her regret and that she can't change it. And then they can't, I go, I think this was the last book. And Dr. Joe and I went back and forth, and I was like, I don't know. And then we found out like a couple weeks later, we're like, no, there's one more. I still haven't read it. I won't read it. I'm like, I like that.
You haven't read the end of it?
I don't want to read it because Dr. Joe read it. And I go, they Disney'd it, didn't they? And he's like, he didn't say anything. But I'm like, no. I was like, I liked that ending.
They kind of did.
If you kind of did, then you did. You can't, because I loved how powerful that was.
Yeah.
Not everything has to end on a good note.
No, they walked it back a little bit,
Right.
So
and I like that. I mean, I don't like that they did that.
Because I felt like the same as you. I thought that was the end of the series.
It felt
I didn't know there was another one coming, and then when it showed
perfect?
Yeah,
especially
when the next issue showed up, I was like, "What are they going to do? They've already ended it."
Right. But like when you do that, like if you commit suicide, there's no going back. You can't walk it back.
Right.
And that's like, imagine if that's what the reality was on the other side. Read that book, and you're like, "Wow, I made a mistake there. Oh, I can't even go back and say sorry. I can't do anything." It's like, you just the regret that you end up, that's your hell. And I was like, what a great ending. I even talked to Jen about it. I was like, she deals with people that deal with this stuff. And you're like, to see that. And then they walk it back. I was like, Arr! Like, not everything has to end on a high note. Not everything's bright side chat.
No, you're right.
That's why we invented it.
Yep.
All right. What else at Moss 5 took us to that? What else did you have?
Yeah.
And then we had...
I finished Strangers in Paradise. So
okay.
I'm done with all 110 issues or so of that.
Yeah, I'm 110 away from being done.
Yeah. I loved it, actually.
Oh, yeah?
I really did. I liked it a lot. It's one of those books that, it was just, it's a relationship story. Like, there's a few things that happen. There's a little bit of mystery and action, but it's really just the characters. It's just a story about the characters trying to, they're on again, off again, Sam and Diane,
Oh, geez. Yeah.
throughout the whole thing. And then, you get to the end. But I liked it a lot. I thought it was really good. So I'm a little sad that it's over. But
you didn't have to binge out 110 issues like that.
Well, I also liked it. I wanted to keep going.
Yeah.
It's like I just kept going. And kept reading it.
I still have the last episode till you get to the end. To do.
Yeah. Then you get to the end and you're like, I
don't want to finish that last chapter.
What I will tell you is like it ended at like 90 issues, and then there was like he came back like 2 years ago and did like a 10-issue run.
Okay.
That wasn't so hot. Like I didn't like that.
Should have ended it at 9.
They should have left it alone. It's not that it was a bad story, but it didn't feel like a Strangers in Paradise book. It just felt so different. And I was like, I didn't dislike the story, but I was kind of like, I wish he would have left it alone, and just kind of ended it the way he ended the main story. But still, I thought it was really good. So I read that. And that's why I'm looking for something. I'll probably read the Dune book, and I think I'm going to jump into Philadelphia and try to read that so I can start up with that new book too, Nita Hawes. So cool. That'll be my next binge, and they're not nearly as long, so it won't take me.
That's cool.
It won't. Although I say it won't take me that long. I mean, I did 120 issues of that other book in 3 weeks, so it's not like it takes me that long. But
no, you get what do you read? When do you mostly read at work?
Just at night.
When you're waiting. At night.
No, at night in bed. I start.
I can't read in bed. I
have the TV on. Yeah, I put the TV on in the background, and I'll pick up, and that's when I read most of my books. Yeah, sometimes I follow. Sometimes it puts me to sleep, and I read half a book and have to finish it the next day or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I read till I'm tired, and then
fall asleep, some wake nights, up, and send an email.
But the problem is, I found myself like I just kept reading. Like I'm like, oh,
language.
I'm sorry. I'm like, oh crap! It's 3:00 in the morning, and I'm still reading Strangers in Paradise. Well, that was late.
You don't have to say that because I can slide it back to where it goes. But now I have the marker, and now everybody knows our trick.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like I just kept going, just kept reading. So it was like I said, it was enjoyable.
I'm the exact. I cannot. When I read, I need to be alone with nothing on it because it's too distracting to me. If I hear something else, because I like to get absorbed I don't like to, I do get absorbed into the book, but it's very easy to pull me out.
I said, the TV is just on. Like I am not watching it at all. It's just on it's like diners, drive-ins, and dives. It's just like something running for hours in the background.
Right.
It's just noise.
Nothing's just noise to me because I'm like, what did they say? What? Somebody used the word "the." I got you.
Yeah,
I'm on it.
I mean, every once in a while, I'll look up to see the food that he's eating and wish I could eat it. But for the most part, I'm just I just read.
I can't multitask like that. I can talk and walk at the same time, but I can't do that.
Right.
No, Jen's funny. We'll go shopping. And I'll be like, I'll try to talk to her about something, and we'll be shopping. Like, not even like, grocery shopping. Can't talk to her. I got to stop. I'm concentrating. It's food shopping. What are you talking about?
Right.
But then we go shopping for her. She needs to pick something out. I'm busy. I can't think about that. Just leave me alone. This is supposed to be fun.
Right.
It's like, I can't talk. We're having a conversation. I'm not trying to solve world problems. Just talking. Let's hang out.
Right.
But yeah, she's definitely not a multitasker.
That's funny.
So, all right. Is that it?
Yes.
You ready to move on to real world?
Sure.
All right. I've been looking forward.
You have?
Yes. Yes, okay. I have. It's been a big week for me.
Awesome. Well, lately you haven't watched anything, so.
Oh no, it's
I'm definitely carrying the weight of this segment.
Yeah. Well, you carry the weight of the show, John. Let's be honest.
I wasn't going to say that, but thank you.
Here. I'm just
glad you recognize.
I'm just the producer that's allowed to speak.
Yeah.
This is the John Ciccone Show.
Yeah. Brought to you by
John Ciccone.
Yes.
that modest salary you give me that makes me motivated.
That's what it is. Yeah. Modest is the operative word.
So yeah, no, go ahead. You start, and then I'll just jump in. But
okay. Well, we finished Lock and Key season 2.
Didn't even start it. How was it? Is it better than the first one?
I actually think it was a lot better than the first one.
Really?
I think this show, the fact that it was not based on anything, you know what I mean?
Like the title alone.
Well, but I mean, it's a completely original story, and I thought it was really good. Actually, I thought it was. Again, I liked season 1, but I thought this was better. I thought it was a pretty good season. So, and I think you'll like it too, just for that fact that it wasn't like there's no graphic novels to compare it to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, it definitely picks up where season 1 left off, and it's got a lot of the same elements, but it like I said, it did. I think it did a good job. I enjoyed it.
All right.
And then I started watching Another Life on Netflix.
Hey.
I texted you about this. So this is one of my solo shows that Lydia is probably not going to watch.
Yep.
But I was looking for something, new to watch, and I'm in a bunch of Facebook home theater groups, and there's one group I'm in specifically is called the Dolby Atmos group, and they were talking a lot about this show, and I kind of remembered season 1.
Look at you! You should start a home theater podcast.
I know I should. I remember season 1 coming out.
I'd be pissed.
And if I started a home theater podcast, why?
Why don't you just join mine?
I need to start one so I can get a deal on a Kaleidoscape.
I don't even have that.
But yeah, so I remember this show came out like a year ago, and I couldn't remember if I watched it or not. Like I was like, I think I started this. I don't remember, but they were just all talking about the Dolby Atmos and just the sound and basically all the home theater stuff, the Dolby Vision and the quality of the show. So I popped it in, and I realized that I had watched half of the first episode and never finished it. I don't know why I stopped it, because I liked it. I started
great.
it. Yeah, I backed up and started it again from the beginning. And if I stopped because I wasn't liking it, it was kind of like Jen with Ted Lasso. I don't know why. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I never went back to it. So I watched the first 3 episodes of this, and I will say for the home theater guys that they were right. I mean, it's got unbelievable atmo, like just the sound in this is fantastic. But this is a good show. Like
the picture is great too.
Yeah,
like the 4K.
It's fantastic.
So good. Everything is great about it.
It's got great sound.
Quality.
Yeah, great quality. But it's a good show. Stars Katie Sackhoff, and it's got Tyler Hoechlin. Yeah, Tyler Hoechlin, who plays Superman on the Superman and Lois show. He's not playing Superman in this show, but
nope.
But he's here. And then there's the guy that plays her husband was in the first few seasons of Shameless, and took me a while to realize where I recognized him from, but
I recognize him from something else because I didn't watch Shameless, so I don't know what it is yet, though.
And then it's got Selma Blair is in it as well. So there's some different different named people in it. But yeah, I'm only 3 episodes in, but I'm really liking it. It's a great sci-fi story so far. I know a lot of people really criticized it when it came out from season 1.
Really?
I don't see it. So far, I've liked it. So.
Well, I'm on episode 5.
Oh, so you're further ahead than I am.
I can't get enough. I
know. I can't either.
I'm slow myself down because
I can't wait to get back to it.
Did you see that the first season they're all like 40 to 50 minutes. The first episode was an hour, but they're all like 40 to 50 minutes. The second season they're only 30 to 40 minutes.
Oh, I didn't see that.
And I'm like, no.
So you're gonna just plow right through them.
I'm trying to slow down because I'm watching. I'm like, it is so good. It's like And the other one I wanted to talk to you about in comparison, and maybe we'll do some Kryptonite on this because I have some comments on it, but is Invasion on Apple TV Plus.
Yep.
They are very similar, but they are so different. They're basically the same story, but done in a different way. But I love them both. And I'd love to talk to you about, if you want to do Kryptonite, I'd love to talk Invasion and Kryptonite and talk some spoilers, because I just love that story. And that one obviously is weekly. I'm all caught up on it. Yeah. And that one there,
and that's another show that a lot of people are criticizing for being way too slow.
And that's why I want to talk to you.
I disagree.
I do too.
I think the people that are criticizing that show for being too slow need to grow up.
No, they don't get it. They don't get the show.
Well, but the thing is, this is an adult show. Like it takes a little bit of thought and patience. Like it's not like a bubblegum show. So, and I feel like the people that are criticizing it are just not mature enough to watch it.
Yeah. Well, and I'll say this, and
if for any of our listeners that don't like it, I'm not putting you down and saying you're immature.
You need to grow up.
But you need to grow up and give it a chance, because it's really good.
We're down to 5 YouTube followers.
Yeah.
No. What I will say though, and it's funny, I thought of this even before I heard Nick on the Nerdy Legion talking about Dune and misadvertising and mismarketing the idea of that movie. Well, I think Invasion, and this is what I was thinking last week, and one of the things I could talk spoiler free about it, I think it was marketed wrong. It is marketed, watching the trailers for it, it is marketed as an action show. And it is.
Well, I think the title markets it wrong, right?
Right. Well, no.
The title sets an expectation of what you're going to get, and you will get it, but it's not right away. Like,
no. But
it
what
takes time
I
to
can't
build.
wait to get, honestly, I can't wait to get to Kryptonite and talk to you about it, because it is, and you are absolutely right. It's like, just grow up and pay attention to the story, because it's actually a bunch of great stories that are going on there. But it's the exact same scenario. It's the same thing that's going on in another life.
Just from a different perspective.
Yeah. And it's another life is what everybody wants Invasion to be.
Well, in a different period of time too, right? Like another life it takes place somewhere in our future. Like it's not
pretty far in our
day.
Future. Yeah, pretty far.
Yeah, because didn't they say 2060? They mentioned somewhere around 2060.
Something like that. Because they were I forget exactly
40 to 50 years in the future.
One of the recent episodes I was just watching, they were talking about, they went back on the computer and they looked up something from like 2026. And they found it they're like, oh, this happened in 2026. I was like, oh, okay. So they're
and I think they
exactly
specifically mentioned 2060 at one point.
Maybe.
So I know that it's at least 50 years. It's probably like 50 years ahead of us. But but the
great
premise
tech.
is the same.
I love the tech. Yes. I love everything about it. I love the computer on the ship.
Yeah.
And Wilson. Was that his name?
Wilson, yeah.
Wilson.
Well,
which
is it Wilson? That's the Tom. That's the.
That's what I was going to say.
The ball in Castaway. But.
Exactly. But that's the point. That's my point. I'm wondering if they did that on purpose.
Well, maybe, I don't know. I didn't remember that was his name, but
no, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. It's like I'm trying to think of what else it would be. Let me see let me make sure. But that's what I thought it was, because he.
Well, it could be. Like I said, it could be. I just don't remember.
Yeah. Jesus. William. It's William. I knew it was a W, but Wilson would have been better.
Yeah.
But I love that tech. And did you notice that? I mean, the show's 2 years old.
Yeah, it's not
did
spoilers.
You notice that? I mean, he's just a hologram.
Yeah.
But the people walk around him.
Yeah.
Because he's not. He's an actor in real life. So, but they could CGI that situation where they walk through, and they did a couple of times. But watch when he shows up, they all walk around him. But that made me actually think, like, that is actually what would happen.
It would.
They're so used to being around these people that they don't, out of a sign of respect, just like, oh, okay. Right. But what was funny is it was actually his entity played a part in one of the episodes. Have you seen that part yet?
Well, I don't know. So, I mean, I know he's
the
played
gamma
a role
rays
for sure. Yeah.
Okay, you did see that. Okay.
That was the last episode that I saw.
Oh, okay.
So that was probably episode 3.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, but yeah, I can't get enough, and I have to. It's well, we've got 2 seasons of it, 20 episodes.
Yeah, but I'm off Thursday alone because Lydia has to work.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that I was probably going to take that time to
You're
rewatch Dune.
You're going to be done with it next week.
Well, I was going to rewatch Dune, and then I was going to watch some of this. And now I'm thinking I'm just going to watch this because I actually haven't seen it for a few days, and I'm kind of jonesing to get back to it.
Yeah,
so.
It's really good. It's like I'll probably watch it tonight while I'm waiting for some stuff to upload with the podcast, because I think the next episode's like 40 minutes, 45 minutes. So I'll get some time there. Maybe watch it again in the morning before work. I'm glad I found that. That was a good call right there.
Yeah. Well, and I didn't want to wait. Like, I was just going to wait until the show to bring it up. But like after I watched it, I was like, I'm going to text him
all
and
you
tell
did
him
was
to
text
watch it.
me like great Atmos. And I happened to be in my theater when you texted me, so I just
because you responded back right away.
And I said the opening scene is awesome. Yeah. Like the opening scene from episode 1 was an awesome Atmos. So was Invasion, by the way. Opening scene of Invasion was a boom, like the big bass shot. But yeah, it's really, really good. All right, go ahead. I think I'm done.
You're done.
No.
Started watching. So we finished Lock and Key, like I said. So we started watching the last season of Shameless, which is also just dropped on Netflix. Mm-hmm. So this is season 11. We watched like the first 2 episodes. But again, it's one of those shows. I've really liked it over the years, but to jump into it is 11 seasons. So
yeah.
There's a lot, but it's really good. William H. Macy plays Frank Gallagher. He's like the head of the family, and he is such a scumbag. Like, it is just
such a great actor, though.
He's such a great actor,
yeah.
And he has won so many awards for this show playing this character because he is like the most reprehensible scumbag character you've ever met. But it's just so great. Like, it's just so great watching it. So yeah, we're watching that. So last night I watched a movie I had never seen before and always wanted to watch.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I watched The Thing, 1982.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I've never seen it. A lot of people have been talking it up lately because of Halloween.
It's out on 4K too.
It's out on 4K. So
last month or
yeah,
so.
It's showing up a lot in the Facebook groups again. I didn't see it in 4K. I didn't buy it. I just watched it on Hulu. I'm
probably
assuming
still
you've
looks
seen
pretty
it.
good though. I haven't seen the 4K. I saw it.
But you've seen the
ago.
movie.
Oh yeah.
So it hasn't aged well.
Ice Station, Zebra, and Werewolves, right?
Yeah, it's very 1982. Like, the effects are not great, but it is and again, I'm preaching to the choir. Everybody's probably seen this movie, but it's a great story.
Yeah.
Like, the movie itself, the story was really good, but the effects are rough. Like, they really don't hold up.
Like a lot of the horror movies back then had great stories.
Right.
And
this was probably... And I don't even consider this a horror. Like, a lot of people are talking about this movie because it's Halloween. To me, this is just a sci-fi movie. It's not a horror movie at all. This is horror just the same way as Aliens, which I don't consider a horror movie. It's just, to me, it's just a sci-fi movie.
But it's scary. It's kind of, you haven't seen Life yet, right? I would say
no. I haven't seen it. I bought it though. I ordered it. It's coming.
Okay.
Best Buy.
I would say that's probably around the same idea. It's like, because it's like Aliens. I never considered them horror movies either. But I don't consider The Omen a horror movie. It's a great story. It's just scary as hell. But to me, I don't know. I guess a horror movie to me is like Texas Chainsaw Massacre or any little slasher movie.
And see, to me, those are splatter movies,
Right, slasher.
Horror for me is something that's like scary, And I don't consider any of those movies scary.
You didn't think some of those scenes in The Thing were scary? Like, I know you're a grown man,
Well, but not by 2021 standards. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't find myself like on edge through the entire movie. Like I was into the story, and I was, trying to figure out who was real and who wasn't, and I was I was gripped by the story, but I never felt tense or on edge.
Right.
Not one time. So I just felt like this was a good sci-fi movie. But yeah, like I said, I had just never seen it, and I was like, I want to watch it because it's come up a lot. So, and I enjoyed it. But I didn't I won't buy the 4K. Like I didn't like it enough that I'm going to buy it and watch it in 4K.
Yeah, I have.
I don't think I ever, I need to watch it again,
I'll probably do it next year for my Halloween. I always do like 4 horror movies in October for my home theater podcast. I didn't do it this year because it had just come out, and I try to not do recent stuff, but Psycho I did this year, and that had just come out over. What was that?
I just felt like it was a little overrated. Like I didn't consider it a masterpiece of horror. You know what I mean?
It's
like
John Carpenter,
but they say, it's regarded that way. Like a lot of people feel like it is, and I just thought it was fine, but I didn't love it. Like I'm not gonna buy it and rewatch it, like I said, or make it like a yearly thing that I watch every Halloween or something.
Right?
It was fine. Because like I said, it was gripping. But now I've seen it,
held up.
Well, that's the thing. It was gripping, but now I know. Like I know who was a thing and who wasn't. So like a second watch through isn't even going to have that tension. It's not going to have that tension at all. So it's just. I don't know how rewatchable.
It's a one-off story.
Maybe if I haven't seen it in 30 years, like if you haven't seen it since '82, I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
Oh,
but once you watch it again, I don't think you'll be jonesing to see it again after that.
Right.
So.
Which is probably why I haven't just dove right back into it again.
Right. And then the last thing I watched was episode Doctor Who premiered on Sunday, season 13.
All right, I got to catch up.
So I watched the first episode of that last night, and it was good. It's a little silly. Like this
on BBC.
It was on BBC America. Yeah. This show can be silly. Like it's got some really great episodes, and it's also got some really silly episodes. And this one was kind of in the middle. Like it was fine, but
are you warning me?
I just didn't think it was a great season opener. You know what I mean? Like it just didn't feel like the best episode, but it was fine. I just don't know. And I am kind of warning, like for somebody like this will be the very first episode you ever watch. I don't know that it's going to make you want to really keep going. So
power through, Deej. It's one episode. I think I can
maybe watch some other episodes first. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how the season's going to go. It was fine. But it definitely wasn't one of the best Doctor Who episodes out there. So, and that's it. Like other than,
Foundation.
I watched Foundation. I watched Invasion. I watched Acapulco. Like I watched all those. Yeah,
we're doing. We're still plugging away on Acapulco. That's a fun one.
It is fun.
Yep. We're still
not quite Ted Lasso. Like it's not quite that good.
What is?
Nothing is. But it's been pretty good.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Seinfeld.
And Curb Your Enthusiasm episode 2. We watched that. So just the regular weekly things.
Yeah. So what'd you think of this week's Foundation?
I thought it was good.
The whole,
actually, the whole thing.
A lot of great backstory. Really backfilling a lot of information here.
It did, yes. Because I can't remember the guy's. What's the guy's name? The professor there. The hologram. Well, whatever. But but a lot of you got a lot of explanation for what happened with him, and why he was murdered and all that other stuff,
Selden,
yeah.
I just looked it up.
So yeah, a lot of good background information there this week.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And and this one jumped around a little bit too. We had a little bit of back and forth, but Yeah, I thought it was a good week though. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm still liking it. You know, the whole
spoiler
jumping,
free, because if Nick's still listening, he hasn't started.
Well, I'm just saying the whole jumping around thing, it's not, you know, I've said it before, it's not my favorite, but I am still so
tolerable because the story's
so far enjoying it. Yeah, I'm enjoying it quite a bit. So and I thought this week was good because, like I said, it did fill in a lot of information that we were kind of wondering, because you're like, well, why did that happen? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
even on day, you know, or dawn, day, and dusk, you're getting a lot more information about that.
Yeah, about
don't give anything
Dawn,
away.
right? Yeah, but Brother Dawn is the one.
I want to mention something about that in Kryptonite as well. We'll do a quick thing on that.
Sure.
Just a quick question for you about it, but yeah, that show, so much to unpack. I'm so excited. I'm really excited that it's getting 8 seasons, because it's just like it.
Well, we hope. We don't know that it's going to get. We don't know that it's going to get 8 seasons.
I know.
But their plan is
going. Yeah. It's
their plan is to get there. It's just, you know, it's all about the ratings. So we got to get people watching it.
Yeah, but really, look at Apple TV. If the story is there and they've plotted it out, you know, you see what we're getting now and the reaction that people are having to it. Why wouldn't that still? Wouldn't you want? Who's going all the way through this and going, I don't want more? You know,
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just that.
It's just, are there enough people going all the way through it? That's the question. Because we don't. Again, we'll never know they'll never
I think
release
Apple
the
has
viewership
the money.
numbers.
They could finish it just for you and I.
Well, they definitely could.
I mean, not asking for a lot. Just finish the damn story.
Well, you know, that's why.
I don't want to read the books.
What's the name of that show? The Expanse, which is on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
You know why that's there, right?
No. What do you mean?
So that show got canceled from Sci-Fi after season 2.
Okay. You mean like that? Yep.
Yeah.
Kind of like Lucifer.
Right, but it got canceled season 2. Jeff Bezos, his son, loved the show. So Amazon bought it and picked it up because his kid liked it.
Oh, man.
So
nice.
If they could do that, then Apple can do it for me and you.
Boy, do I feel silly what I got Joe for Christmas then.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get him a show.
To put on my streaming service.
There might have been other factors, but that was the major one, was that basically his son loved it and was sad that it got canceled.
Yeah, but Bezos also has a huge fascination with space. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now. There was probably a few other factors, but that was a major one. Was that just basically that his kid liked it.
Yeah, that and it's the cost of a candy bar to you and I.
Well, right. That's what I mean. He's like, I can do that. It's like happy birthday. Here's the show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah? You just got me a show, Dad? What else did you get me for my birthday?
Exactly. Is that it?
Here's $1, kid. It's like, I mean, really. So. And all on, like, what he's worth and what that show cost, it maybe it's closer to like, $10 to me.
Right. Maybe it's like buying him a PlayStation or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
And maybe a game.
Right.
All right. Lost Symbol. I haven't actually seen this week's Lost Symbol. I've been so infatuated with Another Life and Invasion and everything. And
yeah, I watched it.
Was it good?
Yeah. It was good. There's only one more. Next week is the finale, I believe.
So what is it? Only 8 episodes? Is it 8?
Oh, maybe it's 10.
I don't know.
No, I don't know, because I thought I remembered when I looked it up last week after the episode to see how many more there were, and I'm pretty sure that this week coming up is the end of it. So.
9 episodes. Season 1, 9 episodes.
Yeah, yep. But I think we've had 8.
So we have 1 coming up this week, and then it says episode 10, but it says 1. So 8 episodes is coming. Yeah, the last episode is this week.
Right, is this week.
November 4th, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There was 1 more after last week. So, and it's kind of there. Like, based on where the story is after last week, it's ready. You know, I mean, there'll be hopefully another season and more stuff, but they're about done wrapping up this particular mystery.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I still like the show. I just I couldn't pull myself away from Another Life. Really enjoying that, so. All right. Is that all we have?
Yep.
All right, let's get to Kryptonite. But first, thank you to everybody for listening. Thank you for participating, sending in your comments. You can email us at brightsidechat@gmail.com, or you can tweet at us at brightside_chat, or you can tweet at John if you don't want to be on the show, and at Arkham Comics.
If you don't want an answer, you can tweet John.
Yeah, if you want to just tweet into the abyss.
Yeah, into the ether.
At Arkham Comics with an X, it just disappears. So I'm wondering why you don't get any tweets. Actually, you do get tweets, and you just don't read them.
I don't see a lot, honestly. I don't see
them.
Them. I check every day.
You, yeah, people tag you and I together to talk to us.
But I check every day for notifications and don't see that many. So
is this thing on? Is this thing on?
Hello.
But yeah, thanks to everybody. Thanks to the Nerdy Legion, everybody over there, all the great podcasts. You could check everybody out there. BJ Horton, for instance, going back, listening to all my home theater podcasts over there.
Nice.
He's like, wow, that was a lot of fun. And I didn't sense sarcasm.
Right. I think he
really
honest.
meant it. But yeah, he went back and listened to all of my home and the progression. And he's like, oh, how you used to do the, how I used to put trailers in. We used to do that here too, as a matter of fact. Right. And, but yeah, I was trying to streamline and do more, but with a little bit less. So, but yeah, you can do that. Go back. All of our podcasts are there. That's the only place you can get them right now for us. I have them all, but they're all there at the Nerdy Legion. Go back and listen to episode 1 and listen to the different sound qualities through the years. Oh my God. And we were trying.
There's 200 of these, so listening back to all of them.
It's over 200 now,
right? We'll take a minute, yeah.
Yeah. Well, my other one's I'm over 100 on the other one. It took him a couple weeks, and I think he's still going through it. But he had started at a certain point too. I think he started like halfway through, so he just went back. It was the first half, but yeah, that's pretty cool, pretty fun. So, when people say that, like, "Hey, I'm listening to your old stuff,"
I don't even do that.
I don't want to hear what I said yesterday. No, actually, I listen to us all week as we go through the week. So. But all right, thank you very much. Thanks to everybody. We'll be back next week, maybe with Speculator, maybe not. Hey, the show's always evolving. But let's get to Kryptonite. It may be
different.
Yeah.
All right. Take care.
All right. Take care, everybody. Thanks. Hey, Fred. Hey. I kind of stalled there for a second, so we got some dead air. Look at that. All right. Listeners love dead air.
Hey. It's even better when you can see it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, when it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
All right, John. You know what you got to do, right?
I guess.
There you go. Thank you very much.
Lock the door.
There you go. Under lock and key. See how I tied that in?
See what you did there?
Hey,
I see.
Hey, we're professional. Quickly on Foundation, spoiler free, not spoiler free. So fast forward about a minute here, Nick. Brother Don.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a chance that they're doing this to him on purpose? Like all the brothers have to do this. I'm wondering that, like, what the heck is that? Your phone vibrating?
I just got a text. Why did it show? Did it come over the phone?
I could feel it in my headphones. Like,
really?
Oh yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, I felt that. I don't know if the listeners will hear it because I usually bottom that stuff out. But
I had it laying on top of my laptop.
Yeah. So. But anyways, so you know how Brother Don is different.
Right.
And great story, very compelling what they're doing with him and how the misery and just how everybody feels growing up. You always feel like you're the first one to go through your everything, right?
Right.
Which is, I think, what they're trying to portray. Now, is that actually going to play forward and he actually really is that way? Or do you come to find out that this is something that Day and dusk always do to dawn?
I don't think so.
You know what I mean? Like almost like
I know what you mean. Yeah, but I think
you're
it's an anomaly.
Exact clone of yourself.
Right, but I think there was a glitch in the Matrix. Something got in the juice. I don't know what happened, but I think he's an anomaly. Like I think he breaks the cycle.
Oh, I know. I'm hoping that's what the story is, but I'm also prepared. I think that would be kind of cool and sadistic.
Well, it would be, because then it's like they know he's going through it and they're testing his honesty to see if he's going to say anything. Or
it gives you, in a way though, is it really sadistic, or is that what it just gives you that opportunity to grow up and feel different, even though you're a clone? You're an identical clone, and it's multiple generations of this. Like multiple, what are we on, 16 or something like that?
Yeah.
And then you find out they got backups, kind of like another life. They got backups sleeping. And you're like,
which I hadn't considered that, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I hadn't considered that they would do that. But then when he said, if one of us is killed or dies suddenly, we have these backups.
Happen. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, yeah, that way they don't have to start from scratch again. So it was clever, but it was surprising. Like I didn't expect that,
And it's also, that cool. To me is sadistic. Like not only are you a clone, you're replaceable.
Right.
And you're going the clone.
But they all know right from the very beginning they're replaceable.
Right.
They know, they all know they're going to walk into the bug zapper, at the end.
I know.
I mean, none of them have any illusions that they're going to have a different life than.
Well, actually, you don't know. The only time you're walking into the bug zapper is when you don't see it until you becoming day, is witnessing dusk walk to the bug zapper, right?
Right.
So your entire first 30 years of life, because it's supposed to be like 30 years, right? You got 30, 60, your middle 30 is day, and then the last 30 is dusk, and then,
Right. But even as a kid, maybe you don't know about the bug zapper specifically, but you're part of this line.
But right.
But you know that you're part of this line that is just going on. So stands to reason that you would figure out that.
Right. But to actually witness
basically your whole life is
30,
mapped out.
Yeah.
Is mapped out for you, and it is going to be that. But I don't know. I think, like I said, I think he's going to break the line. Like, I'm sure the other two aren't going to be happy when they find out that he's different. But that's the whole thing.
Ever? That's the thing.
Well, that's the thing. Does he disappear and go live his life with his girlfriend like she wants him to, or like what's going to happen? Is he going to stay for duty and try to keep it a secret until they figure it out?
Right. Well, that's what kind of made me wonder if it's all just kind of a hoax type thing. They're playing with him because his girlfriend, they had a version of her at the brothel.
Right.
And so it's like, is that a trigger?
I don't know. I don't even remember that. So
you don't remember that? That there was a girl there that she was kind of looked like him and he was interested in her, but he only wanted to talk to her because he didn't want to disrespect her because he respected the other girls. So it was like,
well, I remember that scene, but I don't remember her looking just like that girl. But
I don't know if she was identical, but she looked, I mean, that's what it was. It was like, are you, and I'm wondering if they were triggering that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't put anything past this show. It's great.
Oh no, for sure.
In either scenario will be great.
Right.
So I just thought I'd ask that. So, all right.
But I loved, just to kind of just one just real quick thing, just to piggyback on something different. But I loved the scene with Brother Day and the robot, the caretaker or whatever. He's all mad at her, right? Because of what she did. And she just comes out matter-of-factly and says, my programming does not allow me to go against you. So the simple fact that I did this means I was not going against you.
Exactly.
And I was like, perfect, right?
Yeah.
I was like, that's the perfect
Mic drop.
response. Yeah. It's like, you can't say anything else, right? Because
he was so dumbfounded.
I physically cannot go against you. So if I did this, then I was not going against you.
Right.
And I'm like, well, can't argue with that logic.
Yeah,
So,
you can't. It was awesome. And
it was perfect.
He was just
he
mad.
just didn't know. Yeah, he was furious, but couldn't really. How do you respond to that? He's like, okay.
I know.
It's just like, all right.
I know. It was so
perfect.
Great. And I also like and this comes up in the podcast too, is that you have to realize that the early parts of the show, when we were seeing Brother Don, that's him now. But you see I know you know it, but it's hard to every now and then you'll be like, he was such a great kid. And he was so inquisitive, and he was so like, that was a different version of, Brother Don that we're getting now. Brother Don we're getting now is, late teens, probably early 20s. And Brother Don earlier was a child, like 10 years old. So you're getting that almost like that young Anakin, but now he turns into Empire. Brother Day, who's a Brother Dink. And it's just to see how that evolves. But we miss out. And again, that's what gets me back to, are they really playing with Brother Day here and the Brother Don? Because they skipped that. We just saw the little kid, and now he's all of a sudden, that would kind of piss you off. Right. That would make you develop into the Brother Day that you become when you're like, you guys have been effing with me this whole time. I thought I was different. Screw you. And it'd be like, and then now guess what? You're developed into exactly who you are.
Right.
So I don't know. But yeah, it's funny, but so entertaining. Just like Dune. Like you're just sitting there riveted, like what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's get to a little bit of invasion here and the stories, and that, like you said before, grow up, pay attention.
Right.
And what I think what this entire show is about, and I'm like, I was telling Jen about it. I was like, I really want her to see it, but it's every single one of these stories. The show is about an invasion.
It is,
but it's actually about how we as a people we can't get along with ourselves. Each story is about, like, maybe I'm hoping that it's like the invasion brings all these people together, and it makes it, because even to the point that the most recent episode where you have the soldier and the, like, I don't know, the Middle Eastern guy in the desert. Right. Neither of them speak this. They can't communicate.
Right. But they keep yelling at each other, and I'm like, what are you hoping to get out of this? He can't understand you.
Right.
You know?
They can't understand each other, but then when they're sitting at the fire, they actually do communicate, but they don't even know it. But we're given the information because we get the subtitles.
Right.
And they're actually saying almost the same exact thing. Like at the same time, like the Arab guy or whatever, he's like, oh, you can't even understand me, but it's great to just have somebody listen to me. And then you go to the American soldier, and he's just like, you don't have any idea what I'm saying, do you? Right. But they were both commiserating.
At the end of the day, people all respond to the same stimuli in a similar fashion.
Right.
You just can't see it, Right. And in that case, they're supposedly enemies, and so they're not trying to understand the other person's point of view. You know what I mean?
Right.
But at the end of the day, people are just people. And if you walk up to, if you cut me, do I not bleed? Like if you walk up to a situation, we all react the same way. It's just, but we also have our prejudices, and we
do our defense. Yeah. I was going to say defenses. We all have our defenses. We're all unknown situation. You're all you've got your guard up.
Right.
But then it's as like in that situation there around the campfire, they're like, their guard is coming down, and their respect, it's not, they're literally not at gunpoint. They're not petrified of each other. And like, I'm just trying to give you some, like the, Arab's trying to give him some water or whatever. And he's got his gun pointed at him because he doesn't know. and all those. But it's every single story, even to the husband and wife, and the husband's a donkey.
Oh yeah, he's the worst.
He's absolutely like ready to leave his family. And like I said, I was telling Jen about this story, and I'm like, at the same time, if he's a donkey because of the kids, right? But if you were ready to leave your wife and then this invasion happens, and you really do love that other woman, I kind of do feel for that, but you're a donkey for getting into that situation in the first place.
Well, right.
But you know what I mean? Like, imagine if the roles were reversed and he was just sleeping around, but he really loved his wife and his kids, and he ended up with he'd want to get home, but either way, you're a donkey for doing that. But I mean, when he went out into the street and he's like, take me, and they're like, we don't have room for your family. No, just take me. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That's the line of the show right there. Like, you are an absolute, I don't care. You've got kids.
Right.
I know you're trying to get to see your girlfriend, but come on. You're literally abandoning your family in an invasion, but they stick together. Right. She puts him in the car like a child. They take off, and they're literally as difficult as they are together. That's the point. That's the point of this entire show. It's the difficulties we have with each other, but I think they're going to come together for to handle the invasion.
Right.
And that, the show is just filled with awful people.
It is. Because even with the kids, you have kids not getting along, and
that's again, Lord of the Flies.
Scene, but that when that kid got, the little hero kid, I guess, to tell his story about his dad and all that stuff, and then he says,
I was just taking a piss.
Psych. Yeah, I was just kidding, and I was like, what a jerk.
But that's what kids do.
Well, it is, but
we've all been there. Well, I
was like, what a jerk,
Right. Isn't that how we met? No.
Yeah. I was the jerk.
Hey, you went there, not me.
Yeah.
No. So. But yeah, that's that whole thing. I think that scenario, that's just Lord of the Flies, right?
Yeah.
That's the same exact story. They're stranded there. They're going to break down into their little society thing and figure it out. But they are going to get along, which is the other part. The one story that I find really sad that I don't think the invasion is going to really play much into is that the Japanese woman there and her mother.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I told Jen about that one.
Like when she was like, she just laid into the dad last week. Like the Japanese, so the astronaut's father, when she went to see the father, and she just lays into him, telling him what a horrible person he is and all this stuff. And he's like, that's not what happened,
Right.
It's like, and then you're like, what do you say to that? It's like, okay, now I feel like 2 inches tall,
Yeah.
But, well, I don't know, because he's going to help her. Like, he's going to use his connections at JASA or whatever, so they can get the recording going. And so, I think it will play into, it'll play into it.
Well, her and her mother was brutal.
That was brutal.
That was brutal. I'm like, I told Jen that story too, and I'm like, she had just lost her girlfriend, love of her life,
like her love of her life,
and her mom goes, it's a blessing
probably for the
disguise.
Best.
You get a fresh start.
Yeah,
you could meet a man.
Yeah,
but what's funny is, again, that's a true story. There are people. I remember,
yeah, for sure.
I mean, we grew up with that generation,
right?
Shortly behind us, that literally thought that it was like, this is your soul you're dealing with.
Well, and especially it's another culture too. Like it's
another culture,
different,
but I mean, I've experienced that firsthand. I mean, I don't turn out that I'm gay, but I know people in my life that felt that way about gay people, and that it was like that they are damaging their soul, and nothing against, you can't take that belief away from them any more than you can take anybody else. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying I agree with it, but imagine feeling like that to your own daughter. that she is literally in mourning, losing the love of her life, and you can't even wait to say that, to say like, hey, now you get a fresh start. Like, it's that ingrained in her that she thinks that it's this much to do with your soul. Like, good news. No, you couldn't even wait till the mourning process was over.
Right.
And oh man, it's just heartbreaking. And then, then of course you have the miscommunication with her and Jassa, and you know, she's trying to figure everything out. But that's what I think about this show. It's the drama around that we all deal with on a daily basis, but now it's going to be heightened by the invasion, which will cause more bickering. But then I think at the end we all come together.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going to be hopefully kind of cool to see.
I mean, this show is definitely a slow build, you know, like you said, if you're coming into this looking to see aliens and spaceships and invasions from the jump, you're not going to get it.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, this show is not
We
about
haven't even
that.
seen an alien yet.
No. Well, we kind of did in the desert, right?
A little bit.
The one that wiped out
at the very beginning, the opening scene.
Well, no, in like the second or third episode, they wiped out that guy's.
Yeah,
wiped out his battalion or whatever.
Battalion, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, this is just it's a drama. Like, it's just stories. And yeah, there's like 4 or 5 or not even connected. There's 4 or 5 different stories that are going on. And like, we haven't even gone back to the Sam Neill story at all. Like, kind of died at the end of episode 1, and I guess that's the end of that, because we've never been back there.
Was that 1 or 2? I can't remember.
Maybe 2.
Maybe 2. But maybe he got 2 episodes. I don't know. But maybe it was 1, because he was short-lived. And I was surprised.
I actually thought it was the end of episode 1.
Maybe you're right. A la Game of Thrones with what's his name?
Yeah, Ned.
Yeah. It's like, he's awesome.
Sean Bean. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he made it through episode 1. He didn't make it through season 1.
Yeah. He got to the end of the season at least.
Yeah.
But
which was, you know, he always dies, so that was actually a good feat for him.
Right.
But yeah, Sam Neill, that was, you're like, oh wow. So you had that little bit there, but then yeah, you're right, the desert, and they're spider-looking creatures, kind of.
Yeah.
And you know what I thought was funny about that scene? This giant, I mean, that thing is, what is it, 50 stories tall?
Yeah, it was
the legs
big.
Are huge.
Yeah.
And they just start shooting guns at it. Like, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
What else are you going to do?
Well, you're under it. Best case scenario, you kill it and it falls on top of you.
Yeah.
Well, there's a win.
But what would you like?
Run?
It's all you can do. So you do what you can do. You know
I know. Like, well, my training is pull the trigger.
I've only got this gun, so that's all I can do.
Right.
You know.
Well, you got a bayonet.
I say I've got my bayonet, so that's that. So.
Yeah. No, I can't wait to see. And how many is this getting any more seasons? Is it?
Well, I don't know.
Do we know anything about it? Have you heard anything about the popularity of it?
Again, most people are not enjoying. Like, most people that I'm seeing,
that's too bad.
Online are
well. That's most people online hate everything.
Well, that's true. But again, this is mostly in the home theater groups, because every day somebody will bring it up and talk about what great Atmos and stuff it has. And then 50 people jump in the comments and talk about what a terrible show it is. And it's like, okay, but first of all, that's not what he was saying. He was talking about the Atmos, which is great. Whether you like the show or not,
right?
It is great. But it's just like there's always a bunch of people jumping in. But it's Facebook groups. Like, so I don't know overall what the popularity of it is, you know, as far as for Apple and their numbers. But I don't see people talking about it like they do like Ted Lasso or some of the other shows, you know, so
right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Hopefully, again, I'm hoping it continues to go. I like it. I think it's smart and it's got good stories and I'm enjoying it and I'm waiting for it. Like I said, I'm excited for it to start ramping up and, you know, getting into some more of that
action stuff.
Action.
Yeah.
But
I love the story. I love it the way it is.
It doesn't have to get there. You know what I mean? It can just keep going the way it's going. And I like it. So
we have another life. That's got plenty of action and I think a great story too. Right. The entire process they're going through there. But yeah. So I hope on these Facebook pages you're pointing people to Brightside Home Theater.
Yeah, I am. I am. I bring
Speaking
it up
of which, in before we got to Kryptonite, I wanted to end the show telling everybody about your appearance on Friday on Brightside Home Theater.
Coming up on Friday. If you don't have enough of me after this show, you can get more of me.
Enough of us.
Well, you're on the other one already.
I know, but it's more of us talking. So Brightside Home Theater on Friday. If you haven't ventured over to Brightside Home Theater, try out Fridays. It's John and I and our annual, every year. Well, now this is only my second anniversary.
Yeah, our second annual.
But, you were on the show quite a few times before that.
I was.
But we did last year, my first anniversary, we came on, talked Star Wars. Came on for this one, talked Star Wars, but we also have we won't give it away, John. Little big market tease here. We'll call it, your little snafu that I think is very informative for the listeners. Any home theater listeners may have made this snafu and they don't even know it.
Maybe, right. Maybe you don't even know, because I wouldn't have known.
No.
Honestly, I had no idea I was making this mistake.
And it's not one that I would have said, did you do this? It's just, very interesting.
It seems so obvious now,
doesn't it?
But I didn't know at the time. So.
But at the same time, it seems like one that's very easy to oversee. Yes. Right. So that's a tease for everybody.
There you go. Tease.
We laughed on that one.
Yeah.
Especially when you texted me. I'm an idiot.
Yeah. I'm such a dumbass, I think is what I said. But
I was trying to be nice.
Idiots being nice, yeah.
Yeah.
And this was the day after the drunk episode, so you're like,
oh yeah, that's
you were like,
right.
You were like waiting to see what the follow up was.
I'm like, exactly.
Could have been a million things.
I was like, that's not news,
right?
Because actually, I was like,
especially after last night.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So.
That was funny. Yeah, you're right. It was the next day, and we'd already talked.
Right.
And I was like, oh, you're going to listen to it? And why? Yeah. And later on the day, I'm such a dumbass. Okay. I'm looking at my phone like, all right.
All right. Tell me something I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. So, hey, till Friday, John.
Yep. Can't wait.
And then we'll be back here next Tuesday as well. Oh, next Wednesday for the show.
Wednesday for the show.
All right, everybody. Is that it? That all you have? Sorry, I'm just ending the damn thing.
No, that's good.
I mean, we've been going here for quite a bit. This is going to be like a 2.5 hour show.
Yeah.
Another gem. And we missed 2 segments.
Right.
So there you go.
Yeah,
all right.
My stomach is telling me it's time to go.
Same here. I'm pretty hungry.
Yeah, me too.
So, all right. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Take care.